And William's celebrating their wedding anniversary, so have a great time, guys. That's it for the moment. Back tomorrow morning, 6:30. Greg,
will you be bleary-eyed? Are you doing anything tonight?
Tonight, no. Staying in the house tonight.
I would have thought Human League would just have been right in your wheelhouse.
Yeah, I'm going on Sunday evening, so.
What's on Sunday evening?
Memories is looking at DJ Sammy and stuff like that.
Wow.
Yeah,
all right.
my sort of era, you know.
Yeah, okay. Keith Fletcher can go to that and pick up some new ideas.
Yeah, me and Keith and Lee, perhaps. You never know.
If I listen to... I want to get out joking, but he'll beat me up. He's quite strong.
Yeah.
All right, okay, that's going to be good. That will be good crack. All right,
yeah,
so keep an eye out for those boys.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks,
on Sunday night. All right, Marty, enjoy. Right, it is the 9 till noon show. It's 9 o'clock. Let's get a news update and cross over now to Donald Kavanagh.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning. Police in Derry have been helping a distressed young male found earlier this morning in the John Street area of the city. They say he was wearing Spider-Man nightwear. They're urging anyone who knows the parents of the young male to get in touch with them. Two agencies are joining forces to urge action for the future generation of older people. Alone and Social Justice Ireland say government needs to invest now in social care, health and housing for the ageing population. Over 1 million people will be 65 or older in 15 years' time. Social Justice Ireland's Michelle Murphy says investments to deal with that need to start now.
Investing that money now means that the services and the infrastructure will be there when we need them, and actually will cost us less if we do it now rather than waiting, as we often do in this country, until something becomes a crisis. We're not asking for this investment overnight, but we're asking that it start in Budget 2026 so we can make those incremental changes and incremental investments in the areas where they're really needed.
The scheme to immunise babies against RSV is being expanded. The Department of Health says there's been a significant reduction in infections since the programme was introduced last year. With more detail, here's Stephanie Rowan.
RSV levels are highest in Ireland in the autumn and winter. It's usually a mild virus similar to a cold, but it can be very serious in young children and is the main cause of bronchiolitis and pneumonia. The RSV immunisation programme was introduced last year and it's estimated it's led to a 65% reduction in the number of cases. The programme will now be expanded this year to include all babies born in maternity hospitals between this September and the end of February. The injection will also be available to babies who are less than 6 months old on the 1st of September. The Health Minister says the data on the immunisation programme is compelling as it protects young children and eases pressure on the health service.
We're being told water issues continue to affect Cloughaneely. Local councillor Michael McLafferty says there is no water in the Dunmore area until at least 12 noon today, with some other areas in the vicinity potentially out until later this evening. He says Falcarra town should have their water restored by now, and crews are doing their best working on an issue with pumps. All areas should be restored, he believes, by this evening. Last night, Ishgarin confirmed they were dealing with an issue in Creasla, but there's been no further updates on that. Websites pretending to represent businesses in Ireland are scamming shoppers with more than 50,000 meta ads on Facebook. Consumers are subjected to sub-stories about closing down sales and buy goods that either don't arrive or turn up looking very different to what was ordered. That's according to the journal Investigates. Its journalist Stephen McDermott says when people fall for this, invoices then come from Asia and make returning the goods prohibitive.
We found a network of almost 100 Facebook pages that are attempting to scam Irish shoppers by pretending they are Irish shops. So they look like normal clothes shops, online stores, and how they work is they put ads onto Facebook and Instagram and they say closing down sale or stock clearance sale or things like that would lure people in, limited time only.
Well, the forecast mostly dry with limited sunny spells and the chance of the odd light shower today. Top temperature 17 to 20 degrees Celsius in light variable breezes. And that's Silent Radio News. We're back with news again at 10 o'clock. In the interim, check all the latest news on our website, highlandradio.com. But for now, from the news team, good morning.
We train on local pitches and play in packed stadiums.
We give our all for clubs in every corner of this island.
We take on local rivals and we take on the world.
We push ourselves and we push each other to see what's possible.
We are the game. Every player.
At every level.
We are rugby.
Energia, official energy partner of Irish Rugby. Think of the possibilities.
And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest. The 9 to Noon Show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello, good morning. It's 4 minutes past 9 on this Thursday, the 21st of August 2025. You're very welcome along to today's 9 till noon show here in Highland Radio, and it's another goodie for you. Hopefully you'll enjoy it over the next 3 hours. You'll stick with us, and of course throughout the day here on your number one local radio station, Highland Radio. We've got loads lined up for you. We're going to have all the latest, I suppose, stories behind the headlines, your comments as they come in, and of course speaking to some very interesting people across the Northwest. Get involved in the conversation. This is quite literally your show. 086 60 25,000 is the WhatsApp and text number. 086 60 25,000. New people texting that number every day, and we welcome you into the fold of our texters. You can give us a call as well, 074 91 25,000, or email comments at highlandradio.com. Just to remind you, of course, as I do every morning, you can watch the programme as well if you're at home or have access to a smart TV or a Fire Stick. We are available on YouTube. Just type in Highland Radio Ireland. You'll see we're live. Like and subscribe if you can. It's useful to us. We're across the Facebook pages as well. Highland Radio News, Sport, and Obituary Notices, which is a great Facebook page for you as well, by the way, if you want to stay up to date with what's happening in relation to the very latest news, and you can link through to the full stories on our website. Oisín Kelly and the team with the very latest sport, and of course something we provided I think from sometime this year, the very latest obituary notices. So as soon as we post the latest obituary notices, they go straight to that Facebook page, and you can click through again there as well. So don't forget to give that page a like as well and a follow. And we're also on the X platform as well. Lots of papers out because it is a Thursday. And 30 years ago, the Tyrconnell Tribune, claimed that Ramelton is the town the council forgot. That is no longer quite true, as Johnny Patterson reels off the hassle he's had to face from sources since he opened his ranch in 2018. It is a shock to the system, but due to his work ethic, he's determined to continue because he does not believe he's breaking any laws. Mr. Patterson said, "The closure order is scheduled for enforcement by September 12th. I've no idea what the future holds in store, not only for myself, but also for the customers who've chosen the ranch on a frequent basis." Local councillor Port McGarvey says the regulations being pursued by the council are long out of date and are heavy-handed. The county is dotted with food trucks similar to Johnny's Ranch, and I'd like to hear why the ranch has been singled out for closure in this manner. And there is a petition that's online at the moment to save Johnny's Ranch, and it's proven really quite popular. And Johnny and the crew there too, getting a lot of support from local elected representatives who you would imagine would have the power to get answers to the questions that Councillor McGarvey there is posing. The Derry News Donegal People, a leaflet drop organised by the Students' Union at Atlantic Technological University Donegal, has led to a surge in offers of spare rooms from local homeowners, with close to 200 applicants received ahead of the new academic year. The appeal by the university urged homeowners across the county to register their spare rooms under the National Rent-a-Room scheme. It's an initiative which aims to relieve pressure on student accommodation, which also gives hosts the opportunity to earn up to €14,000 per year tax-free. And that also, if you're in receipt of any payments as well, it doesn't interfere with them, which is quite interesting. I think that's a really good thing for local residents, and I hope we played our part in carrying this annually as well, in that, you know, there are people that have a spare room and can avail of, you know, up to €14,000 of extra income per year tax-free. You know, if you're in the highest tax bracket, you'd have to earn 27 to take that home, which is, you know, a decent wage, or, you know, close to 23, 24 if you're on a lower tax bracket. So it's not an insignificant amount of money, and I'm not surprised as many as have availed of it, because you can set the rules. You can set the rules of your house effectively in advance. You know, I don't want people over, I don't want music late at night, and so on and so forth. But also too, there are people living alone that feel happier with someone in the property with them, and they get to meet them in advance, I believe, and also, as I say, take that money in. So there's lots of benefits. It's a good scheme, I think. The Derry News this morning reports that an 81-year-old man who sexually abused his daughter over a 2-year period starting in April 1978, when she was just 8, has been jailed at Derry Crown Court. His daughter, who was in court for the sentencing hearing, supported by several members of her family, said she wanted her abusive father to be named. He is John James Callaghan from Bridge Street in Derry city centre. On to the Irish Times now, and it's welcome to see the defective concrete block scheme getting any national coverage. It's on the front page. It's referred to the mica block scheme. We know it's not that any longer, but you know what? If it's on the front pages and people are reading about it, so be it. But just 7% of applicants to the defective concrete block scheme have had their homes remediated in the 5 years since the scheme opened, new records show. Some 220 homeowners have had their remediation works completed under the scheme out of a total of 2,870 applications since it opened in June 2020, according to figures released by the Department of Housing up to the end of July 2025. What's interesting here for me, 2,870, what are people waiting for? Are they not there yet ready to formally apply? Are they holding out? Maybe you're one of those with defective concrete blocks. We know the number is way, way, way higher than 2,870. I just want to say, and I don't want to be negative, of those 220 that have had their remedial works carried out, how many of those are out of leaf? You know, and how many of those are complete rebuilds? And of those complete rebuilds, how many are on, you know, bases that effectively could potentially, and we hope it doesn't, deteriorate into the future. But in terms of sort of out of leaf remediation, how many of that 220 might end up having to try and get back into this scheme because we know the blocks continue to fail both inside and out. A further 977 applicants have issued notices to commence work. So 997 plus 220, you're heading up towards half of those who've made applications to the scheme. The defective concrete block grant scheme helps homeowners to repair or rebuild their homes where significant damage has been caused by the presence of pyrite or mica in the blocks used to build it. Well, it's not mica, so I'm going to scribble that out. These minerals found in blocks linked to certain quarries cause cracks and other defects to appear in structures. The scheme was originally opened in June 2020 and covered counties Mayo and Donegal, with owners able to claim 90% of a maximum rebuild cost of $247,500. Wow, that was a low cap at that time. It was extended, of course, thanks to campaigners arguing that this left a huge gap in funding the actual cost of rebuilding their homes. A gap still remains for many out there, but there is obviously significant building happening. You see these houses being rebuilt, but I just wonder if the 220, how many were out of leaf only and how many of those will have to go back into the scheme. And I'll also be very interested to see if there's a surge in applicants, if the science shows what everyone expects to be it to show, that the houses will have to be completely knocked down and may in fact need foundations replaced. We shall watch on. That will be very interesting, but we're going to have to wait, I would say, deep into next year. I know there's a mixed bag out there in terms of your interest or disinterest in the presidential race, but look, a lot of people are interested in this. Many of you will go out and vote, and this is in the Irish Independent, because Fianna Fáil is expected now to enter the presidential race and select a candidate within 10 days. Taoiseach Micheál Martin is expected to have a Fianna Fáil presidential candidate on the pitch in the next 10 days as pressure builds within his party to outline his plans. Private conversations have been taking place among party representatives over the past 24 hours to try to force a meeting so the party can discuss its strategy. A gathering of the parliamentary parties now likely in the first days of next month before the scheduled pre-Dáil thinking takes place in Cork on September 15th. The Dáil will not be back until deep into September. After months of equivocation, which means really no decision, Fianna Fáil is now almost certain to field a candidate. Developments in Fine Gael in recent days have strengthened the view building throughout the summer among its ranks that the party should enter the race. I think part of this is that there's a real issue with Simon Harris and his public perception at the moment. A lot of people are down on him. And I suspect that Fianna Fáil are looking at that and saying, right, this is not going to help their candidate. There's an opportunity for us here because Sinn Féin have yet to sort of throw their weight or their hat into the ring. But again, who is Fianna Fáil's candidate? Who is it? I know there's a lot of local support for Pat the Cope Gallagher. This is a national, now he's very well known, don't get me wrong. This is a national vote. Okay, so they're going to say, right, would the likes of a Pat the Cope draw draw votes from all over the place. Do they look outside the party? Someone maybe who supports Fianna Fáil but isn't necessarily a part of the party. For me, that would almost be an admittance of a failure of sorts, that over the last 20, 30 years, you haven't been able to sort of develop a candidate from within the party that you think could win the election. So it's very, very interesting. I don't know if you have any views on who you would like to see Fianna Fáil. There's a lot of Fianna Fáil support in this county, 20% voted the last time. So who would you like to see Fianna Fáil put? And if it's Bertie Ahern, say Bertie Ahern. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes people, I think, might not comment because they think, people will be very critical of it. It's your view. Stand by your view. Send it in. We respect all views here on the 9 till noon show. But whomever it might be, maybe it is Pat the Cope Gallagher. Maybe was Packy Boner's name mentioned at one point. There's someone with, a national profile and is quite stoic. Stoic, is that the right word? Quite stately when he wants to be. In other words, what I mean when I see him. So I don't know. Who do you think? 086 60 25,000. The Irish Daily Mail this morning. This is something I think we as parents and guardians really need to be very cautious of, because I kind of feel, whether I'm right or wrong, that I'm kind of across trends. But this laughing gas problem is one that I don't know an awful lot about. And I'll read the story in a moment. But it's Galaxy Gas is how they're being marketed to our young people. And they look attractive, if you know what I mean. They're a nice colour. The box looks like a toy, effectively. They're 100 packs and they're flavoured. And they look fine because it's not like you're getting a bit of cocaine in a baggie and it all feels very, these look like it's legit. So I do wonder, do you ever see these canisters about, by the way? How would you describe them? What do they look like? They're about 2 inches long and they're cylindrical and taper towards the end. And for those who are watching, I'm going to hold a picture up here, but I know the majority of you aren't. But I just wonder, have you seen these empty canisters lying around any parks around our region? As I say, I don't really know what they're like. Tiny, tiny little gas bottles, I suppose, and that's what they are. But anyway, I'll read on because they're no joke. Parents have been warned that potentially fatal nitrous oxide is being marketed with vape-style fruit flavours to entice children. Nitrous oxide, known as laughing gas or hippie crack, is now being sold in sweet flavours by drug dealers to children as young as 12, a TD has cautioned. The canisters are also easily available on official websites which advertise the product for use in making cocktail flavours, including mango, strawberry, grape and bubble gum. So, as I say, I'm just curious. Apparently, a lot of the time when young people, or maybe not so young people, take this gas, and I honestly, and I'm pleased to say, I don't necessarily know how they might do that. I presume it's inhaling it. The canisters are disposed of. So if you've seen any sort of small, maybe coloured little canisters around the place, let us know. I'd love to get a sense of what's going up here in relation to that. 086 60 25,000. And hey, if you have any pictures, send them through to us as well. The Irish Farmers Journal: record beef prices and tight cattle supplies across Europe are fueling a red-hot start to autumn weaning sales. The top third of weanling bulls, weighing over 350 kilograms, are up almost €900 ahead on the last year, with sale prices averaging 2,212 ahead. And there's a bit of a rush too on lamb prices as well. Fat lamb's doing quite well at the moment, I understand. Were you the victim of a scam by a so-called influencer? Let's have a look at this story in the Irish Daily Mirror. An influencer, in inverted commas, is under a Garda investigation for allegedly scamming dozens of people into purchasing fake electric picnic tickets. The young woman is alleged to have coerced potentially hundreds of people to hand over money in a sophisticated social media scam. Victims first came forward online to claim they had been scammed by the woman, who had used her own platform to claim she was selling 2 tickets to the sold-out festival. Caroline, is this the same story that we were talking of? So this is a real person who you would know. They have been in the spotlight in the past, outside of sort of the social media gaze. They were involved in a competition, let me put it like that. This story broke as we were sort of digging into it a little bit, because it was a named individual and we were contacted, or had contact with another individual. And because it's a named individual, you have to tread a little bit carefully to make sure you get everything right. But anyway, it's hit the papers before we were able to establish all of that. Now, several of these victims have gone to the Gardaí and made formal statements. The Garda Fraud Squad, who have formally opened an investigation into the claims, have spoken to the woman at the centre of the alleged scam, but she has not been arrested. Sources said she'd been fully cooperative with detectives. Very keen to find out if any of you out there, she was involved in a national competition. She's not from around here, so maybe that's enough information as much as I can give at this time. Were you the victim of an electric picnic scam? Let me know. And last but certainly not least, and I hold it to last because of its importance, Israel has approved controversial plans for a settlement project that would effectively cut off the occupied West Bank from East Jerusalem. This is against international law, quite clearly. That's not anti-anything. What they're doing in this settlement project is against international law. This at the same time that Israel, whilst there is a peace plan on the table, they have started to bomb the living daylights out of Gaza City. The last real urban area that's left in Palestine, they are bombing it. They've called up 60,000 reserves. Quite a lot of reserves are refusing to go back into Gaza, but that's not going to stop them. They've called up 60,000 new reservists to effectively take over Gaza City. And once that is destroyed, what's left? And also, too, the problem with what they're doing in the West Bank as well really effectively puts a severe blocker on the possibility of a two-state solution. And I think they know fine well what they're doing. They're trying to do as much as they can now and hope history forgets and achieve what they've probably always set out to achieve, and that is the elimination of that enclave. Well, the controversial plans by Israel PM Benjamin Netanyahu are in violation, as I mentioned, of the international law and would be a major blow to any hope for a two-state solution to the conflict with the people of Palestine. The E1 project would bisect the occupied West Bank and cut it off from East Jerusalem. Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich is an ultra-nationalist on the ruling right-wing coalition and declared yesterday, with E1, we are delivering finally on what has been promised for years. So they are now quite literally a law unto themselves. And, you know, people can laud Trump for what he's doing. I know it seems since that attempted assassination that he seems more in touch with his mortality, or at least that's the impression you might get with him trying to get the Nobel Peace Prize. Maybe that's a way of him trying to get into heaven, I don't know, and trying to settle conflicts. But he won't touch Gaza. He won't touch Israel for some reason. And that is what he'll be remembered for, I'd imagine. You know, we can't choose what people remember us for. And there's many, many others with blood on their hands as well, who were complicit in this. And history won't forget that either. All right, we'll be back with more after the break.
Daily newspapers are courtesy of Cosgrove, Centra and Diner, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
The 9 till noon show with the Northwest Truckfest this Saturday and Sunday on Neil T. Blinny Road, Letterkenny. Gates open to the public at 4 on Saturday and 11 a.m. on Sunday, with proceeds to Cancer Care West.
From home and car to farm, commercial and public liability, at Hickey, Clark and Langan, they've got you covered for insurance. They shop around all the leading insurers to make sure you get a great deal. If you're looking for a competitive quote, it's easier than you think. Call 91-26688 or call into the office at Ballymacool, Letterkenny. Hickey, Clark and Langan, the local name you can trust, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
It's back. 3 Hail Marys on Grainon, Letterkenny, Friday, September 5th and Saturday 6th. Unmissable. See on grainon.com.
Ireland, this is your broadband wake-up call. Over 275,000 people are waking up to Vodafone fibre broadband, now for just €25 a month. So stop snoozing on award-winning broadband. Switching is easy at Vodafone.ie.
Subject to eligibility. Signing up to our €40 per month broadband package, €15 discount applied for first 6 months, an annual price increase of $3.50 each April. 24-month contract applies. For terms, see Vodafone.ie.
Luxury is not merely seen or heard or even touched. True luxury is experienced. It lies in the minute details that elevate the ordinary into the extraordinary. It's quiet spoken, but leaves a lasting impression. You know it when you feel it. Luxury begins with L. Lexus. Experience amazing. Discover the all-electrified range at Lexus Letterkenny.
Nutria's Weanling Crunch is on promotion at your local Homeland. Buy 10 bags of Nutria's Weanling Crunch ATP and get one free, or €15 off per tonne in bulk. The Nutria's Beef ATP pack enhances animal performance through maximising rumen efficiency. T's and C's apply. For product details, contact your local Homeland or farm commercial specialist, or see nutrias.ie.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is...
Now, the time is 9:25. We're joined on the programme now by Rebecca McDade, who's chair of Ain't in Donegal. But this isn't an Ain't issue as such, Rebecca, is it? Good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg.
Right, okay, so you are issuing a warning to people travelling to our cities, really, isn't it? For any breaks, be it a holiday, I suppose, or work-related. What is this off the back of?
Well, myself and the children went to Dublin. We had a hospital appointment, actually, in Crumlin. And when we came out of the hospital, we went to get a bite to eat. And then we went to Tato Park. We had to change tickets for the following day. But when we got back to the hotel, we realised that someone had tried to break into the Jeep, not doing any damage, but the bonnet was lifted on one side. So that's when we realised somebody was tampering with the vehicle.
Mm.
But we carried on. I went to a garage and they were able to fix the bonnet for me and got it back down again. But they told me that there's a certain way now that they're able to get into vehicles. And they're using like a tablet. It's a technology device. And if they had been able to achieve it, she would have been on a ship and she would have been gone out of here. So we could have been walking home or on the bus. So that was our first.
Yeah, where did that happen? Where did that happen? Sorry, the damage to the navy blue Jeep or the black Jeep, the dark blue Jeep. Where did that happen?
So it was in Dublin, and it wasn't far from Crumlin Hospital.
Right. Okay. And then what happened?
Well, we came home then, so we're thinking, well, you can say, well, lesson learned, maybe take yourself a wee bit more out of the city, away from the area, and eat somewhere else. Because that was our priority, was just getting something to eat. It was after 6 o'clock in the evening. And then my husband had to travel for work, and he left on Monday night. And he has a van, a work van. It's only a few weeks old.
Hi, Rebecca, are you there? No, I'll reconnect with Rebecca. The line has dropped out there. Right, we are watching the damage that's been caused. There was a second incident as well, really, which is quite bizarre. Very unlucky, in fact. If this has happened to you, and I just wonder maybe if it did happen to people, they might not necessarily know what was happening. So let us know. 08660 25,000, 08660 25,000. I'm going to try and rejoin Rebecca in a moment because, as I say, this is... oops, my word. I've pulled back the curtain. You can see what I'm doing, that I'm actually ringing. Rebecca, are you back with me? Hello, Rebecca? Okay, good stuff. Yeah, so then your husband's heading off in the van.
Yeah, my husband had to go to work, and he went off on Monday night. And when I got up on Tuesday morning, there was a great big hole in the side door of his van. So we have been, he has been told that what's happening is that their vans are being broken into, thinking that there may be tools and things that's obviously worth money in them. There's nothing in his van, so there's no tools in it. He doesn't carry any tools, so it was only his work boots, that's all, and a coat.
But it seems the way, and I've never seen a break-in like this, they seem to be exposing part of the internal structures that allows them to unlock the van. Is that what's happening there? Because this is something I've not seen before.
I never seen it before either, Greg, but I couldn't believe it when I saw the photographs. And it was just ironic at the fact that you could say, for me, where you parked, well, maybe you shouldn't have bothered parking there and you could have went somewhere else. But I mean, he was parked outside the front door of a hotel and it still happened. So it's just more about being aware of maybe your surroundings, the things that you have in your car, that maybe it might not necessarily be even the items you have in your car. They're looking for your car and they're looking to get away with the actual item itself, with the vehicle itself. So it's about being more aware and maybe parking in areas where, just think twice about where you're parking. Make sure there might be CCTV footage around you, that might be able to back you up.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because they seem to be, particularly, say, for instance, if we were looking at particularly if we're looking at the Jeep, they seem to be able to get in there very, very quickly, in and out. I would say their faces aren't showing. They've got it down to a T. And then in relation to the van there, I mean, they hunker down to the side of that van. They know exactly where to try and pop it open. It'd make you worry about even parking in a well-lit space with CCTV. They seem so proficient in what they're doing. Might you be protected? And the problem with the van, Rebecca, you'll hear and you'll be well aware, of course, Gardaí say, don't leave valuables on show because, people might break your windows and steal them. The problem with vans is I think there's almost a presumption that there's going to be something good in the van. So parking it anywhere in this day and age almost feels like a risk.
Yeah. And that, I suppose that's really the warning. That's just, whether you have anything in your vehicle or not, like as he didn't have anything in his, and she's only new, she's only a few weeks old. And it's not his own van. Luckily enough for us, it's not his own van. It is a work van. But I mean, the company still has to change the door and put on a brand new door there. So it's an unnecessary cost for them.
For sure. And in relation to the
lucky.
Jeep, is that bonnet, I don't know if it's the design of the bonnet or if they've kinked the front of the bonnet. Does that bonnet have to be replaced now, or was it able to be repaired where you wouldn't notice the damage?
Well, believe it or not, Greg, there was 3 big dents on the left-hand side of the bonnet where they actually, or the right-hand side as you're looking at it from outside, where they were trying to get at the bonnet, but it wasn't working. They only could get one side lifted and not the other side. So
Right.
it must have been locked in some way. And that's over the area where you have the wee lever that opens the bonnet.
Yeah.
So that side wouldn't open for them.
So clearly they're looking to get at
but
the electronics so that they can just take it away and,
Possibly, yes. That's possibly what it was. And when I went to the garage the following morning, because I asked the people in the hotel, could they help me with the garage in the morning to get someone to help me to put it back down again before I would drive down the road. Well, my worry was that maybe you could go over a bump or whatever, and the next thing then the bonnet will flip up on you when you're travelling from Dublin to home.
100%.
So I thought, I need to get this bonnet back into place again, and fair play to them, they were able to do it, no bother, but... Well, it wasn't no bother now, but they were able to do it for me.
And there's 2 things going on here. Is this just, and I don't mean it badly, but this might be better, just bad luck on behalf of you and your other half? Or is this kind of what can happen now, is even possible or likely to happen if you take your vehicles down to the likes of Galway and Dublin? Do you get where I'm coming from? I mean, because it's 2 events for you guys on 2 different vehicles so close together in 2 different cities. You would hope that that's just your bad luck on this occasion because, as I say, you'd be afraid to park anywhere.
Well, that's my concern. Like, I suppose it's ironic the fact that it's the 2 of us out of the one house within the space of a week, because it was literally only last Wednesday, and then this happened on Monday night. So only in the space of a couple of days. But, the joke was, well, maybe next time don't be parking there and go somewhere else, and get yourself out of the city and don't leave yourself so exposed. But for my husband to be travelling to his work and staying in a hotel, to have his van destroyed, actually, the door is destroyed, so the door itself has to be
finished.
replaced.
Yeah. Okay.
That's done.
You couldn't patch that.
No, but it's the fact that, I suppose it's the fact that it's 2 different ways of them working. That's been a big eye opener for me.
Yeah, non-traditional.
They'll damage his van.
Yeah, because you'd expect maybe a crowbar in the door handle, a smashed window, put the hand in. This is it's low noise stuff. They know where to peel back the outer skin of the van to potentially access, whatever they need to access to open the door. And it's quite interesting. The last place I would have thought you go to try and steal something from a vehicle, or to take the vehicle would be to try and lever the bonnet. But there's obviously something of value in there. We know, catalytic converters are often stolen in the cities as well, but that's not up front. I don't believe it is anyway. Okay, listen, Rebecca, it's very interesting. I mean, obviously let's not be scared. Let's be cautious. But you've had a couple of instances of very bad luck, and we hope it's just not something.
And I'm lucky, Greg, that there's no damage done to mine. A few scratches on the bonnet and around the chrome part, But in fairness, they actually didn't damage her.
Yeah.
Which again was so surprising when I found it, because I thought, how did they manage to do that? So it was a surprise.
Well, if they're looking to sell it on, let's say that was the motivation. I suppose the less damage they do, the more value the product. Okay, Rebecca, listen, thanks very much for helping us get that warning out. That is Rebecca McDade there. Have you experienced anything similar? Let me know. 086 60 25,000. A caller says, I moved to Dublin to work in construction. Almost every night for a month, my van was broken into, regardless of where I tried to park it. I ended up having to return to Donegal. That doesn't surprise me. How could you put up with that all the time? All right, back with more very shortly.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com.
The 9 till noon show with the Northwest Truckfest, taking place this Saturday and Sunday on Neil T. Blinny Road, Letterkenny. Enjoy live music both days, family fun, the spectacular truck convoy, and so much more.
Do you need help to make a healthcare complaint? Contact the Patient Advocacy Service. We are free, independent and confidential. We can support you through the complaints process for public acute hospitals and nursing homes across Ireland. Call us on 0818 293 003 or visit patientadvocacyservice.ie.
PDO thread lifts and skin boosters, which rejuvenate the skin by improving facial contours, lifting and tightening the jowls, neck, cheeks and eyebrows, are available at Genesis Aesthetics and Skincare Clinic, Gweedore. To choose the right aesthetic treatment for you, contact Mary Ferry, your aesthetic practitioner. Also offering fat dissolving treatments, dermal fillers and laser treatments for all skin conditions. Hair and makeup packages also available. Genesis Aesthetics and Skincare Clinic, Gweedore. 07495 32575.
Is your couch older than your Spotify playlist? Is your dining table wobblier than your uncle at a wedding? If so, it's time for an upgrade at Grove Furnishings, Kiltoy Road, Letterkenny, the largest furniture store in the Northwest. From stylish sofas to elegant beds, from floor covering to occasional pieces, we've got you covered. And we offer free delivery within 80 kilometres. Grove Furnishings. Seriously good furniture.
Attention Donegal, Derry and Tyrone. PD Bathrooms and Tiles are proud to unveil our newest and most stunning showroom in Lisfannon Business Park, Buncrana. Located right opposite the Northwest Golf Course, we offer unbeatable quality and incredible value. For 30 years, we've been the experts in total refits, stocking and serving as the sole agent for many top brands. Visit us today and transform your space with the finest bathroom and tile solutions. Telephone 93 95 884. PD Bathrooms and Tiles, where excellence meets value. Lisfannon Business Park, Buncrana, F93H10F.
Wheeling bulls break the €6 per kilo barrier. In this week's Irish Farmers Journal, we analyse the bumper trade for weanings this autumn. Records smashed in sheep breeding sales. We reveal how new research could safeguard Ireland's calf exports. Farmers react angrily to critics of rising food prices. Top 5 TAMS investments under €2,000. Plus, in the latest of our Farm Succession series, we detail legal and tax advice and transferring land to your family. Only inside this week's Irish Farmers Journal, on sale now.
Enjoy family fun this Sunday at the Northwest Truckfest on Neil T. Blinny Road, Letterkenny. There's live music, trophy presentations and a truck convoy through Letterkenny Main Street at 5. This ad is sponsored by Cranford Store, 9155633.
Now, you would know we, as many others have been covering the, it was controversial amongst the public, 17 houses at the Lochfern Heights in Milford. Well, it's reported today in the Tyrconnell Tribune that Donegal County Council has agreed to purchase these houses after a new stream of negotiations led to agreement between both parties, the council and PJD Construction. The paper understands from their sources that it is intended to have the project let out for social housing in the Milford electoral area as soon as is possible. Now, these houses were originally constructed by PJD Construction at the height of the COVID pandemic as material costs went through the roof. The project was a turnkey development and the first of its kind in the Milford electoral area since 2010. And a year ago, the council issued a statement to rescind its decision to purchase the houses due to a disagreement over costs. The developer had sought an increased price, an uplift, some might call it, following delays related to COVID-19 and rising inflation. And we heard from, not necessarily in relation to this development, but we heard from the CEO, John McLaughlin, in the past saying, look, at the end of the day, the council has to ensure that it is spending public money responsible in these cases, and they offer what there is a deal done, and if the price goes up, they have to factor in an awful lot of stuff, as I say, to make sure the public get a good value for their money. Councillor Liam Blaney of Fianna Fáil, councillor local to that area. Good morning, Liam. Thanks for your time. Oh, sorry, Liam, I have the wrong fader up. Sorry, there you go. Good morning to you. Right, so would you welcome these reports? I presume they're true. John McAteer wouldn't publish them otherwise, that these houses now are being acquired by the council?
Look, it's very welcome to hear that there's movement as far as the houses is concerned. Now, as far as I'm aware, it's a housing body that is purchasing the houses. And the housing body then takes the applicants off the Donegal County Council social housing list, and that's the way that the houses is allocated.
So you're saying it's not
through a housing body, not through Donegal County Council.
Okay, so it's a housing body that's purchased them now, and they make them available to the council. So who funds that? Pardon my ignorance.
I'm not saying they're purchased, Greg. There's negotiations ongoing, and hopefully it will lead to a successful conclusion.
And where do housing agencies get the funds to purchase these properties? Is it through the council, or is it central government funding? Or as I say, I should know. They
are funded through the department, but they have to put up. I think it's 30% of the funding themselves, and I think it's 70% comes through the department, and they have to pay that money back through time. And look, personally, I'd rather see the council owning the houses, self-builds, and if we own the houses and we get the rent from them. When they go to the housing bodies, the council doesn't get any rent from them. And but with the situation we're in with the housing at present, and we have been in the last number of years, that we're open to getting houses from anywhere, any way, whether it's through housing bodies or whether it's through any other system. We're open to get as many houses as we can to try and help to resolve the massive housing prices we have in this county.
But in this situation, obviously 17 houses become available, but these are not assets of the councils then, and also that means that they will always remain assets unless they're offloaded of the housing agency, which means, as I say, unless something changes into the future, they won't ever necessarily be available for purchase by the tenants unless that agency themselves decide that's the route they wish to go down.
Well, as far as I know, that the housing agencies cannot sell the houses within 30 years.
Wow, okay.
I think they have up to 30 years to pay back the funding first, and they can't sell them houses. What to do with them houses after that is up to themselves. But look, that aside, I think it's very good news that there is negotiations taking place as far as I'm concerned. I have been talking to the developer, and he's fairly positive about it as well. And it's not just this site in the county. There have been a number of other sites in the county as well, and hopefully there's movement taking place in them as well, and that we will be successful and getting them available to the applicants in the council social housing list as well.
Yeah, we do need.
It's great news. If we can get these houses, if the Association of Housing Body can purchase these houses, that's going to be good news for the people of Milford. I know we were here 3 years ago when we thought that the deal was going to be done with the council and the developer, and we were looking at that time, hopefully that coming up to near Christmas 3 years ago, that they'll be let out. But unfortunately 3 years later we're in the situation where we are today. But you know, we thought at that time, we're thinking this time maybe hopefully that they may be available to to tenants before Christmas this year. But look, we can't guarantee nothing until the deal is struck and everything is agreed on. We just can't say that. But I think everything is moving in the right direction. Hopefully keep moving in that direction, and that these houses will become available sooner rather than later.
We do need developers. We need developers developing property. Now, obviously, we were in a particular time whereby, deals were done and then costs went through the roof, and developers, and I'm speaking generally, felt that they weren't able to absorb those costs. But we need the council working with developers, and we need developers active in this county as part of the solution to the housing crisis, because they do have money and they will spend it elsewhere, whereby the pathway to profits is easier.
Yeah, we do need the developers. We do need the houses. And look, I'm aware of 3 developers looking to develop houses in Milford. Extra housing in Milford, plus the council is going to provide 12 there themselves, hopefully before the end of next year as well. So look, as far as the developers providing are going to provide the houses, it's looking positive. But I have to say, my fear is that they might not get built in the houses, and if they do get built in the houses, they may not have the supplies necessary to put people into the houses, and put them in there as the water supply in the Milford area.
What does that mean, Liam? Because there's a hosepipe ban ongoing now, and if you sort of read what Ishka Aaron is saying about it, there doesn't seem to be any hope in sight. They keep extending it. I think it's into September now, but we've had very, very little rainfall, and that supply is running low. And I don't think even if it rained 40 days and 40 nights, it would replenish it to the place that it needs to be. So what does that mean? Say an application goes in Milford that would need to be connected to that water supply for 25 houses, for an example. Could that still go ahead, or would the planners look at the situation with water and say, well, there's not enough water at the moment for what's there? How does that infrastructure in real terms potentially affect development in the years ahead?
There's a massive impact on the development. You take, before Irish Water took over, you applied on the Galway County Council for plan permission for your houses. If you got plan permission for your houses, you got permission as well to connect to the main sewer and to the public water supply. Now, if you're looking at building houses in Milford, you have to, you've had the discussions with the staff of the Galway County Council. One of the things we'll ask you to do is to go and get the go-ahead from Irish Water. And that can take 3 to 4 months to get a reply back from them. And with the situation with the water at present in Milford, it's very unlikely that new developments will get the permission to go ahead.
Yeah. Because Irish Water are in the business of providing water, not housing. So they have to look at it in those raw terms.
They have to look at it, and they have to see what supply is and what's available. And unfortunately, the way things is demand, as you say, the hosepipe ban has been on this last 4 months. How much longer after September it will be on, I don't know, but I'm sure it'll go on longer, because they have reduced where they're supplying water to out of the reservoir in Milford, but the reservoir is still reducing and size. The supply is reducing all the time, whether it is through the cracks that's appeared with the dry weather and with the reservoir going down and extra water is escaping, or what it is, I do not know, but the reservoir is still going down as far as I'm concerned, or as far as I'm aware of. And it's a very, very serious situation up there, and they have to spend large amount of money on a new treatment plant up there. And the way it's going at the minute, they might, in my own opinion, I think through time we could see maybe that reservoir not being viable, or not being enough of supply and maybe closing down. I don't know. I think something seriously has to be done with it. And
is there any?
I know they are upgrading the plant in Cranford to try and pump up extra water up into the Milford area. But I think it could be the end of this year before that's finished.
Yeah, and then that obviously, there's only so much water can go around. There's only so much water can be pumped from one area to the next. It's kind of, medium to long-term solutions we need here, because the demand is there, the population is growing, especially if the will is there to build houses. It's crazy if the blocks are being put on it, because Irish Water would have to say, I suppose, we don't have the water for either a single house, let alone a development of 30 or a new hotel or whatever it might be.
Unfortunately, it could hold back this whole area. And I say in this whole area, I mean the Milford and Letterkenny municipal district area. It could hold it all back from development for a number of years. And if you look, and you're fully aware of the situation in Downings, I'm quite sure, where there's a restriction on at night time. We have Kerrygard, Glen, the same. Remelton, as the supply going from Melton coming from Letterkenny, is very, very poor a lot of the time. We have the restrictions on the hosepipe bans on Milford, and like the whole area has just been hampered. By
in Irish Water, say Letterkenny, Buncrana, Ardra are on the, not Ardra. I don't want to, but certainly Letterkenny, Buncrana are on the brink, as well in terms of water supply.
Definitely, and it has been on the brink for quite a while. But to get answers from SKR or Irish Water, it's very hard to get anything concrete or up to date of what's going on. And I'll give you an example. They meet us once a year now as councillors. We met them last September. We got the reply to our questions in the end of June. And the reason we got a reply, in my opinion, is because we're meeting them again in September. And the reply we got was six replies to questions that had been asked, but the questions had been all bundled into some similar questions from different councillors.
Yeah.
And nothing direct,
no
or
specifics,
generic than anything else. But they said that they thought the answers were sent out in November to us, but they only realised in June that they hadn't been sent out to us. But look, that's the way to treat people, no matter who you are. Anybody that is in contact with them, even when their office or their call centre in Cork, then you never get what you say, I suppose, a reply that you'll be happy with, that you'll be confident in what you've been told.
But even too, though, when an outage is reported, more details to follow. Invariably, there's never any more details. That's it. It's noted that the issue is there. All right, Liam, listen, thank you very much for that, and a bit of clarity too. I do appreciate it. Councillor Liam Blaney there, and I put this question to Simon Harris, of all people, and others as well, when they were up talking about housing and the housing issue in Donegal, and I've been banging on for as long, and it's not that I have any great insight, others are the same. It's not about, necessarily planning permission on this road or, investment or money available. It is our infrastructure. Our infrastructure up here, particularly in terms of water and sewerage, is very, very poor. Water is a problem. How could Irish Water provide permission for any property in Milford when there's a hosepipe ban? And there are other areas, as I say, that are on the brink. I think, I know Liam mentioned there, Downings, Carragart, they have had certainly Downings, they've had their water restricted. But there's no rain forecast for the next week, and, we could have a drier winter. What happens then? And what are the plans to address these issues? A real issue when it comes to water supply, and from that, housing development, business development, hotel development, whatever it might be.
The 9 till noon show with the Northwest Truckfest this Saturday and Sunday on Neil T. Blinny Road, Letterkenny. Gates open to the public at 4 on Saturday and 11 a.m. on Sunday, with proceeds to Cancer Care West.
How would you like fresh organic goodness delivered to your door in the Inishowen area? Every Thursday, White Oak's Acorn Project packs up 6 tasty seasonal vegetables and brings them straight to your home, delivery free. It's local, healthy and perfect for families who love good food. Taste the difference today. Order online at theasacentre.com or call 07493 848866. We are here to help. F93 F104.
At Dunnes Stores, our autumn savers will get you back in the swing of things. With selected Kellogg's and Nestlé cereals, My Waddy Double Concentrate 1 litre range, or Innocent Kids Smoothies 4-pack, all half price. Or a range of snacks and drinks like 7-Up 2 litre, Cadbury Twirl 5-pack, or Tato Snacks 6-pack, mix and match any 3 for €5. And save more with your 10 off 50 or 5 off 25 vouchers. Dunnes Stores. Always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Vouchers can be used on next grocery shop. Prices subject to deposit return scheme fees.
All you need to make your house a home at Patterson's The Hall, Lifford. From garden furniture to kitchens, sofas and dining sets, all under one roof. Need a new mattress? Why not visit our sleep centre on the first floor? With a large range of quality beds and mattresses in stock and ready for collection or delivery. Relax in our coffee shop serving hot lunches daily. Open Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Patterson's Kitchens and Interiors, the Halliford.
Exam results arriving? You're invited to enrolment days at Northwest Regional College. On the day your exam results arrive, come along to your local Derry Londonderry, Strabane or Limavady campus to apply for a course or confirm your place. Choose from our wide range of apprenticeships, level 3 diplomas, foundation degrees and so much more. For more, visit nwrc.ac.uk/results. Northwest Regional College. From here to career.
The Northwest Truckfest takes place this Saturday and Sunday on Neil T. Blinny Road, Letterkenny, featuring trucks from all over Ireland and a truck convoy through Letterkenny Main Street on Sunday at 5. This ad is sponsored by K&F Superwools, 9139043.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhinney's. Get back to school sorted with all the essentials from school jumpers to shoes. Visit our kidswear department in store or shop online at mcelhinneys.com today.
Okie doke, mostly dry today with limited sunny spells and the chance of an odd light shower, though those will most likely affect the southern part of the region. So if you're listening to us north of the Gap, you should stay dry. Highest temperatures 17 to 20 degrees in light variable breezes. We're heading towards the news and obituary notices, but thank you so much for those of you calling in with your comments. And by the way, we tend now, it seems to have become a regular thing where we play requests and dedications just after 10. So if there's anyone special in your life celebrating a special birthday or anniversary, or you want us to say hello, get them into us now and we can include them in that we wrap up we do after 10. Good morning, Greg. Why are there so many car washes still allowed to operate when the hosepipe ban is on? It's ridiculous. You can get your car washed and not be allowed to use a hosepipe to water your garden or flowers that help the environment. Everything's not always as it seems. Firstly, these are commercial premises and they're paying for the water where others aren't. But a lot of these businesses too have quite innovative ways to source water. So it's not always necessarily coming from the public supply. I'm not saying that's exclusively the case, but sometimes. These attempted car and van break-ins is a regular everyday around-the-clock occurrence in London, and the majority of UK cities witnessed this firsthand in London, Birmingham and Bradford. I never thought we'd see the likes of this starting to happen in cities and towns in Ireland. Every man in the building trade in the UK know what the exact kind of criminal looks like. This is a known fact across the board. Right. The courts would suggest it's not all what you're kind of probably suggesting it is, but listen, I'll take your point. Okay, we'll be back with much more after the news and obituary notices.
The 9 till noon show with the Northwest Truckfest, taking place this Saturday and Sunday on Neil T. Blinny Road, Letterkenny. Enjoy live music both days, family fun, the spectacular truck convoy, and so much more.
Ready for a giant summer adventure at unmissable value? It's just a small step away in Northern Ireland. Blast off with family deals at the Armagh Planetarium. Early riser offers at the iconic Titanic Belfast. Dive into history at Ulster Folk Museum. Free for under 5s. Explore Carrickfergus Castle on the Causeway Coastal Route. Discover a legend at Seamus Heaney's homeplace, Balahi. And epic package deals at Lusty Beg Island Resort for Fermanagh. Book now for great value summer offers at discovernorthernireland.com.
And now a look at the forecast. We're seeing lots of wind, plenty of sunshine to come, and a long-term outlook that's bright for Ireland.
At EirGrid, our forecast is for a sustainable energy future. We're upgrading the electricity grid so every home, business and community can benefit. We're powering up Ireland. Learn more at airgrid.ie.
Look smart for less in the big summer sale at Watson Menswear Letterkenny with up to 50% off suits, blazers and shirts. Also a great suit deal with a suit, shirt, tie and shoes, all for just €299. If you've got a big occasion coming up or just want to look smart for less, visit the sale now on at Watson Menswear. Open 7 days a week on Main Street, Letterkenny and at watsonmenswear.com.
Imagine if you could test drive everything in life. Marriage, new jobs, even your in-laws. Well, at least with your next car you can. At iMotors, we've been helping Donegal families for over 50 years find quality used cars they can trust. All 100% checked and come with a warranty. Take one for a spin today. Visit us in Letterkenny, Malin Village or at imotors.ie.
iMotors, fearless generation.
Would you like a holiday? How does a new car sound? Or pay off those bills? Well, get ready for Highland Radio's Mega Summer Draw and your chance to win big. We're giving away €2,500 cash every Friday from August 15th to September 5th. And on the 5th of September, one lucky winner will take home a whopping €10,000 live on the 9 till noon show. So that's 5 chances to win big. Tickets are just €15 or get 5 tickets for €50. Head to highlandradio.com and enter our Mega Summer Cash Draw now. Don't miss your chance to make this summer unforgettable. Only with Highland Radio.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. Donald Kavanagh at the news desk. Water issues continue to affect Cloughaneely. Local councillor Michael McClafferty says following a computer issue in the Ardsbeg pumping station overnight, there will be no water in the Dunmore area until at least 12 noon today, with other areas in the vicinity likely to be out until later this evening. He says there is water in Falcarra, but the pressure is low in places. Councillor McClafferty believes the restrictions being seen in other areas will soon be seen around Falcarra and Gorthahork.
The supply of water is becoming an issue all around Donegal. The reservoirs are not keeping up with demand. There's not that much rainfall going down with the dry weather and everything else to give anything a chance to get replenished. That's where you have your overnight restrictions down Downings. Mulford, that area, elsewhere. We will probably see that as well here too in the Falcarra area. I think it's fair to say that. And the next coming nights could end up that way as well, where the water will go off.
Mains repair works, meanwhile, near the Twin Towns may cause supply disruptions to Knock, Whitehill, Glencovet, Carn and surrounding areas today. Uisce Éireann says works are scheduled to take place until 2 o'clock this afternoon. 2 agencies are joining forces to urge action now for the future generation of older people. Alone and Social Justice Ireland say government needs to invest now in social care, health and housing for the ageing population. It's anticipated over 1 million people will be 65 or older in 15 years' time. Social Justice Ireland's Michelle Murphy says that will require major investment, and that investment must start now.
Investing that money now means that the services and the infrastructure will be there when we need them, and actually will cost us less if we do it now rather than waiting, as we often do in this country, until something becomes a crisis. We're not asking for this investment overnight, but we're asking that it start in budget 2026 so we can make those incremental changes and incremental investments in the areas where they're really needed.
The US says Europe will need to provide its own security guarantees for Ukraine if a peace deal is reached with Russia. The Vice President says the EU will have to take over the lion's share of the burden to protect Ukraine when the fighting ends. Speaking to Fox News, JD Vance said Europe must shoulder most of the responsibility as it's their continent. Jenny Mathers from the Department of International Politics at Aberystwyth University in Wales believe EU leaders won't be surprised that the US wants to take the back seat.
What the Europeans really are looking for and need is support on things like, intelligence sharing or, logistics, transporting troops and equipment and so on around the place. But I think the European leaders are already talking in concrete terms about committing aircraft and committing troops and so on, in the event that there is a peace deal or a ceasefire to protect.
The scheme to immunise babies against RSV is being expanded. The Department of Health says there's been a significant reduction in infections since the programme was introduced last year. With more, here's Stephanie Rowan.
RSV levels are highest in Ireland in the autumn and winter. It's usually a mild virus similar to a cold, but it can be very serious in young children and is the main cause of bronchiolitis and pneumonia. The RSV immunisation programme was introduced last year and it's estimated it's led to a 65% reduction in the number of cases. The programme will now be expanded this year to include all babies born in maternity hospitals between this September and the end of February. The injection will also be available to babies who are less than 6 months old on the 1st of September. The Health Minister says the data on the immunisation programme is compelling as it protects young children and eases pressure on the health service.
And Amnesty International claims the US is using AI surveillance tools to monitor non-US citizens at demonstrations supporting Palestine. It's reviewed documents from the US Department of Homeland Security, which show software is being provided to US authorities to assess people and crack down on pro-Palestinian expression. Amnesty says the US is using the AI tools to track migrants, refugees and asylum seekers as part of a catch and revoke initiative. Its Ireland Director Stephen Bowen says it could be an issue for Irish people who are pro-Palestine.
I worry that it should be of concern, actually, because non-US citizens in the United States are inevitably going to be subjected to these really, really deep, obnoxious surveillance techniques. Yeah, they are everywhere. If I was going to the United States, I would be worried.
Weather forecast mostly dry with limited sunny spells and the chance of the odd light shower about today. Top temperature 17 to 20 degrees Celsius in light variable breezes. And that's Highland Radio News. We're back with news headlines at 11 in the interim. Check all the latest news on our website, highlandradio.com. But for now, from the news team, good morning. The obituary notices for this Thursday morning, the 21st of August. The death has occurred at the Donegal Hospice of Daniel Dan Breslin, Gortnaskee, Burnfoot. His remains will repose at his home from 2 o'clock this afternoon. Removal from there on Saturday morning at 10:15 to St Mary's Church, Fawn, for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass, followed by interment in the adjoining graveyard. Family flowers only, please. The death has occurred of Eddie Patrick McGuinness, Rushin, Tyrone Killybegs, reposing at his residence today and tomorrow from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Removal on Saturday morning at 10:30 to St Mary of the Visitation Church, Killybegs, for 11 o'clock funeral mass, with burial afterwards in the local cemetery. The mass will be streamed on mcn.live. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Donegal Hospice, care of any family member or McBrearty Funeral Directors. There will be a one-way traffic system in place during wake hours, entering from the Arctic side and exiting through Glenlee. The death has taken place of Thomas James Spratt, 288 Bomini Cottages, Letterkenny, formerly of Newcastle upon Tyne. Thomas will repose at Letterkenny Funeral Home, Port Road, this evening from 6:30 to 9:30. Cremation to follow in Lakeland's Crematorium, Cavan. The death has taken place of Hugh Francis Shovlin, Ballykilduff, Portnew, reposing at his late residence. Funeral from there tomorrow morning to St Connell's Church, Kilclooney, for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass, with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to Ross Begg, Downstrands, care of the aged, care of any family member. Hugh Francis's Mass will be streamed live on Shovlin's Funeral Home Facebook page. There will be a one-way system in operation at the wake, with entry at Kilclooney Chapel and exit at Clooney. The death has occurred of Conor Porter, Town Parks, Rafo. Conor will repose at his late residence today from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 10:30, travelling to St Eunan's Church, Rafo, for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass, followed by burial in the adjoining cemetery. The Mass may be viewed online via Kelly's Funeral Director's Facebook page. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to Mary's Meals and Brindley Manor Residence Fund, care of any family member or Kelly's Funeral Directors. And the death has taken place of Mickey McCormick, Glendone, Church Hill. Mickey's remains are reposing at his daughter Amanda Boyce's residence at Cornagullion, Glendone. Funeral from there tomorrow morning for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass in St Columkille's Church, Glendone, followed by interment in Temple Douglas Cemetery. Shuttle bus from St Columkille's Church, Glendone, in operation from 5 o'clock this evening. Family time, please, from 10 o'clock tonight and before the funeral tomorrow. The funeral mass can be viewed on churchservices.tv. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Aldi's back-to-school lunches get 10 out of 10 for value. There's a whole range of tasty things to choose from, including including bake-at-home white rolls, 4 for 95 cents, wafer-thin ham at the wafer-thin price of just $1.49, and 100% fruit kids smoothies, $2.49. Tell you what, someone's done their homework. Good food, good mood. From Aldi, while stocks last.
The county's #1 talk show, the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio.
And you're very welcome back, and welcome to the show. If you've just joined us, where have you been? An interesting hour, which if you ever miss, you can catch up on our podcast, of course, available on our website around about 12:30 daily. Some of your comments coming in so far this morning. Greg, 21 houses got the go-ahead in Ballochdur beside your station. For a long time, water pressure is low at night. That is the Milford area. Good morning, Greg. Just wondering if you could help me. I'm looking for Crest toothpaste anywhere in Donegal. I can't find it anywhere at all. I phoned around and looked around everywhere and can't come across it. So I don't know why our listener is looking specifically for Crest toothpaste. Do you know where it might be sold across the county? Actually, this person is wondering where it might be sold in Donegal. Let us know on 086 60 25,000 and we can let our listener know. No Western politician will touch defending Gaza or calling out the genocide. They're all getting bribed by rich Israelis. Well, it's still a toxic point of view. You can come out in support of what's happening in that part of the world, opposing what Israel is doing, and face quite the backlash from it. So that is part of it. Israel is very clever in managing a narrative, PR, etc., and that's quite good. They're quite good at, I'm not saying it's good, they're quite good at sort of making it seem far more serious than it might be, opposing the genocidal situation, the genocide, and now the attack on Gaza in that part of the world. Hi Greg, had my water off on Tuesday night in Carrickart and attempted to go on water.ie to find out why. The site for registration for text outage information was useless despite registering last year, receiving no warning text. On re-registration attempt, it wouldn't recognise my error code. I discovered the news on the Highland Radio website that there would be a water outage in the Downings area from 10:30pm Wednesday to 7am Thursday. Arrived home at 6:05pm to find water already off. What's going on? Ishka Erin, uncontactable. How do I find the truth about water outages, and why haven't I received warnings despite previous registration? In addition, if everyone runs their taps at full flow for an hour after the water restoration, how much conservation results? I get you. I hope people don't run the taps for an hour afterwards, but I do understand what you're saying, because the water can be quite dirty and people might run some off. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I don't know, maybe tons and tons of water is used overnight and it offsets. I can't imagine it's the case. I think you talk a lot of sense there, Carl. A caller says, I've no issue with anyone putting their name forward for president, but I'd like to see the Gaelic language being a necessity for standing. In what other country would their president not be capable of speaking their own language? It's an interesting point. I've no problem with that. I don't know what you think. I think being fluent in Irish might not be the worst prerequisite for president. Or what do you think? 086 60 25,000. I'll tell you, it would rule out quite a lot of very vocal nationalists down the country. My view is scrap this position for president. It's a money-wasting position. Look at the president, €35,000 per year for his dogs. Never mind what he gets. It's a complete and utter joke. What's going on in this country, for God's sakes, and the country on its knees? But the country's not on its knees. We're raking in billions upon billions. We're raking in like 10 billion a quarter at times, more than we even thought was coming in. I just think we need to sort of realise there's a ton of money coming into this country, but it's not necessarily being spent to ease the difficult situation many people find themselves in. I understand exactly where you're coming from as well, but a head of state, every country in the world has one, and I think maybe the savings could be made elsewhere. 35,000 a year for dogs, that does annoy me. I think if you're going to be president and you have dogs, look after your dogs yourself. That's crazy. It's ridiculous, man. I think Pat the Coke Gallagher would be a fabulous candidate. I think it's important that our president is capable of speaking our native language. Also, Pat has class and is fluent in Irish. I think he'd represent our country extremely well, both nationally and internationally. It's a big no-no for Bertie as far as I'm concerned. Thank you so much for that. Very interested in your opinions. Greg, can you ask Donegal Airport where is the appropriate assessment for use of these gas cannon noise machines in the Carrick Finn Special Area of Conservation? This is a legal requirement as there's nothing environmentally friendly about these machines and they're a torture to humans too. Thank you for your contact. We got on to Donegal Airport as we do because you asked us to, and their statement reads as follows. As part of our ongoing commitment to safety, Donegal Airport has recently introduced remote-controlled gas cannons on the airfield. These devices are a proven and environmentally friendly method of deterring birds and other wildlife from entering critical areas of the airport, helping us to reduce risks and ensure the safety of flight operations. Please be aware that the gas cannons will produce sudden loud noises at intervals throughout the day. This is normal and controlled part of their operation and is essential for ensuring safe conditions for aircraft operations. Maybe this is just the price of having an airport in your area. I think we've got very calm evenings, very little wind, very little sort of ambience noise. I wonder maybe the cannons, and it's easy for me to say because I don't have to listen to them, right? But I just wonder maybe the cannons are more impactful on a wider space because of the weather conditions. I'm not really quite sure. Just wondering, has anyone purchased a plug-in hybrid car and to install the charger after a video call site inspection costing €130, now to be told that ESB has to charge €200 for the upgrade of wires and an electrician has to be in attendance, another expense. When purchasing the car advertised as a free charger, which I've paid €300 for, which it will be refunded, but I was never told that there would be all these expenses and had to change provider. Greg, has anyone else run into these problems? Thanks. So you're getting a free charger, but then it turns out that your power infrastructure at your property needs upgrading. I get where you're coming from. This sounds a little bit like, you know, you've got an electric shower in one part of your house and then you try and install an electric shower in another part of your house and you can't if they're on the same sort of circuit because of the potential for overload. So the draw from PHEV must be quite high, and that's why you had to get your... I think really when they say free, they talk about they'll stick it on your wall and plug it into your house. And if you incur an expense after that, that's going to be your problem. And, you know, I'm not sure how many houses then require wire upgrades by an electrician. It's a complicated one. And you probably look at that and go, well, it's going to take me a while to save that up, isn't it? Right, now, Jane and Peter McElhenney are in Port Nabla. It's their wedding anniversary. Enjoy the holidays from Karen, Jake and Simon. Hi, can you wish Ars O'Donnell Nursing Home all the best for their cake sale this afternoon? It runs from 2:30pm to 4pm. It's in aid of the Residents' Comfort Fund. Please, all welcome. So, if you like your sweet treats and your cakes and what have you, get along to Ars O'Donnell Nursing Home between 2:30pm and 4pm today. You'll get some goodies to take home with you and enjoy, and you're raising funds for the Residents' Comfort Fund. So, a nice double advantage there.
It's time for Vision Ireland Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Thursday, the 21st of August, Jackpot Day. You're playing for the jackpot prize of €8,800 on the pink sheet. The reference number is S9. It's game number 34. The jackpot number is 66. This number can come out in any position from the next 10 numbers drawn. And now, here are your daily numbers. 37, 58, 88, 34, 49, 48, 67, 11, 27, and finally 8. Phone your claim to 9104833 before midnight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your Vision Ireland bingo information at highlandradio.com.
Join us for Alzheimer's Memory Walk supported by Aviva, taking place on Sunday, September the 21st. Let's walk together for the 64,000 people living with dementia across Ireland. Register now for your pack and find a walk near you at memorywalk.ie or call 01 207 3800. Together we walk, together we remember.
Do you think about your legacy and what you want to leave behind? You know, I've had a great life. My childhood was filled with love and support. But not every child is that fortunate. Many face poverty and adversity on a daily basis. So I'm leaving Bernardo's Ireland a gift in my will to pass on the chance of a brighter future to these children. Visit bernardos.ie/pass it on to get involved and make a difference.
Arguably the most sought-after wedding fair of the year, the 4-star Ballyliffin Lodge and Spa, County Donegal, Sunday 24th of August from 1 to 4 p.m. Showcasing only the best of wedding exhibitors, full hotel show around, even sit inside their luxury Rolls-Royce and Range Rover wedding cars, plus so much more at the 4-star Ballyliffin Lodge and Spa. See you there.
The 9 till noon show with the Northwest Truckfest this Saturday and Sunday on Neil T. Blinny Road, Letterkenny. Gates open to the public at 4 on Saturday and 11 a.m. on Sunday, with proceeds to Cancer Care West.
It's going to be dry, calm and warm tomorrow as we head to Dunfanaghy Golf Club to take in the beautiful surroundings of a beautiful area. They have a special charity day whereby they are raising funds for Ronald McDonald House. We're going to be speaking to reps from Ronald McDonald House. Many of you have had to use their services at the most difficult of times in the past. Whilst it's Dublin based, unfortunately at times we do need to avail of those facilities. So we look forward to that. Fair play to Sean and all the crew at Dunfanaghy Golf Club for what they're doing there. So we're going to be broadcasting from it. We have the usual stuff. We have our Friday panel, but it means we get to chat to people out and about from Dunfanaghy. We've got some live music as well. Those shows always prove really popular, particularly for those who like to watch. We always have bumper viewership for our OBs, which is great. So we look forward to that. And we also have the Cash Draw and John show tomorrow afternoon. I'm going to tell you more about that. But first I want to get to Tricia. Hi, Tricia. How are you keeping?
Hi, yes. I've been better.
Yeah, it's a terrible situation you find yourself in. I suppose I just want you to tell your story in your own words as much as you like, and I'll interject where necessary. But just outline, you know, who you are and the terrible situation you find yourself in.
Well, I suppose it goes back over 10 years when I separated from my husband and went looking for a council house. And every time I went in, there was more paperwork, and that would be it. And then next thing there'd be another letter out, we need more paperwork. Affidavit after affidavit after affidavit. The issue with me was that I had my name on the mortgage, but not on the deeds. So technically, the council viewed it that I owned property, even though I don't. And so then eventually I got approved for HAP, which is the Housing Assistance Payment. So I was able to rent and everything was fine. I had one of my kids actually regularly in and out of Crumlin Hospital at the time, still is. So everything else went on the back burner because, you know, my house was sorted. And again, now you skip forward to here. The house I was in at that time, I had to leave, and I'm now in a different house, but again, still receiving HAP. My landlord here wishes to sell the property. Everything there is legal and above board and has been done in accordance with the RTB. The issue I have is that at the moment, there are no houses. There are 6 of us here in this house. So we need, it's not that we need a rather large house. You know, we'll accept anything that we can fit into. We don't mind a squash.
What has the experience been over the last 10 years in terms of trying to acquire a council? As I presume there's lots of forms involved. Have you felt that you're getting closer to achieving that, or does it feel like it's always somewhat out of reach?
Always somewhat out of reach. Every time I'm told, get this affidavit signed, that'll be it. And then that affidavit will go in. Because don't forget, when each of these things go into the council, it takes months to get a response from them. And another line in the sand would then be drawn. and another line and another line. So, like I say, eventually we spring forward to now where I'm literally about to be made homeless. The council, eventually, I got onto my local politicians and everything like that. The council eventually agreed to buy the house that I'm in as tenant in situ. The sale of that fell through. Again, I'm not going to get into that because it's one side blaming another side, and I wasn't privy to any of the negotiations, if you know what I mean. I'm just sitting here watching from the sideline. And now I'm sitting again. I was told last Easter that it was Easter, it was Good Friday, I was told that the sale fell through, which left me for an entire long bank holiday, without being able to get in touch with anyone. And
but I would say there was a lot of I'd say there was a lot of hope in the house dashed on that Good Friday.
Yeah. Oh, that was a huge blow, because we've been in this house. We moved in just before the COVID lockdown, so we've been in this house quite a while. We absolutely love it here, and we love the house. We love the area, and we were delighted that we were getting to stay and that we wouldn't have to move again. So no, that was a massive. I can't even tell you what that did to the self-esteem, to the the emotional turmoil in the house was huge when we heard that.
Now, one option from here would be to move to another property if one were available and continue with your HAP payments. But there's another curveball been chucked in here.
If you can find one, I'll move. I have searched high and over the last 4 years, from when I knew that my landlord wanted to sell this property, I have been searching for another. The big issue I have is that HAP themselves have rules and regulations about how big a house we're allowed to rent. So because there are 6 of us, we need a minimum 4-bedroom, and they would prefer a 5-bedroom. So they're like hen's teeth.
Of course.
They HAP won't pay for a smaller house. If I found a 3-bedroom house tomorrow, HAP won't pay.
Even if you say, look, the kids will double up, we can make this work, they're saying, no, you have to hold out to get one of these hen's teeth 5-bedroom houses. I also see just in an email you sent to us that you were told that you were not on the housing list. Has that been rectified, or is that still the case? How did that happen, and how does that impact in terms of HAP payments?
I only found this out 2 years ago, that I was never actually on the housing list. I contacted, like I said, the local politicians when my situation became so dire, and Pat the Cope went and spoke to the council, and he came back to me and said, by the way, you're not actually on the council housing list, but you're getting HAP. He said, how? I said, I don't know. And again, it turns out that because my name was on a mortgage, they stuck me into a grey area and kind of forgot about me. But again, I think the blame for all of this lies with further up the food chain. It's not my local office, because I genuinely feel that they have been trying and that they have been fighting for my case, if you know what I mean, especially when I'm talking to the politicians who are also involved, because they seem to say more to them than they do to me. But further up the food chain, they don't seem to realise the effect that all of this bureaucratic red tape has on the individual, if you know what I mean. Right now I'm being told that there is a house being bought, possibly being bought. I'm not even too sure about that. But we're coming up to the beginning of the school year, and I don't know whether to organise a bus for my kids here. Am I moving? If I change the bus route halfway through, it's classed as a new application, and therefore they wouldn't be entitled to buses for the first term, and it's a mess.
Yeah, and you talked about the impact it has on the individual, but this is a family as well. So, the children, you can't insulate them from all of this. And as you mentioned, there are sort of medical issues there as well. So as it stands, you are facing homelessness, the 6 of you.
Yeah. Yes, as it stands right now. My due date to leave this house is the 4th of November.
Mm. And it's uncertainty, isn't it? You've no. I mean, there's a possibility, but I mean, listen, when you're in a house that you like and you think things are going really well for, the purchase and residency situation, and that falls through, and then you're told that a house might be being bought. You're not going to put too much faith into that because your hopes have been dashed before, and you don't want to get the rest of the house's hopes up either. So you really are in a horrible purgatory with school time, hospital visits, and everything else all chucked into the mix.
Yes, the new house that is supposedly being bought, I call that my unicorn.
Yeah,
I've been told it's there, but I don't know. And it is that, it's just not knowing and having no way to get the information. There's no one I can call, there's no one I can contact, there's no one I can go to further up to fight my case, because every time I look for a number, I'm automatically referred back to my local council. And they are understaffed, undermanned, underfunded, under everything, and under a huge amount of pressure from the amount of people looking for housing and, the total crisis, the total mess that is here. And I think that's, what Dublin lacks is there's nobody looking at it. There's nobody actually coming and standing on the ground and looking at the impact. It's
well, I want to go back to that. I want to talk
Yeah.
more to that because there's an emotional and physical impact as well. Our emotions, our stress, and our physical health are all intertwined. You can demonstrate, through GPs or whatever it might be, the terrible impact this is having on the whole family. As much as you're comfortable talking about that, because it's the often untold part of these stories, what is the impact on you and your kids?
The impact is huge because of the whole stress of it. A couple of weeks back, I had a small breakdown and had to take a week off work. My work is so supportive. It's the Dunlewy Centre up in the Inid Coishlaha up in Dunlewy here, and they have been so supportive of me and helping me through everything, and told me that regardless of what happens, my job is safe there, which is absolutely unbelievable. But yeah, I had a breakdown. One of my children suffers migraines, and I know that the stress of this has increased the frequency of her migraines. I don't want to go into their details too much.
Understood. But really the point I'm trying to make, the last 10 years for you and your family has been one of existence, really, though, in terms of, very little luxuries, no holidays, treats few and far between. You've been existing, really, for as well as you working and trying to raise your children, get them to those medical appointments. It's an awful lot for one person to take on. And I'm delighted that you're getting the support from your employer and you have that little bit of reinsurance that you don't that's not another thing you have to worry about. But this is 10 years that you've had to endure, all of you had to endure, very little bright spots outside of obviously the love and support you have for each other. But you get where I'm coming from.
Yeah. Oh no, I do, because at one point, my youngest, who attends Crumlin, she had to go up 3 times every year to 3 different departments. And, again, anyone who knows the hospitals, they will never put the clinics on one day. So, there was at times where we'd be up maybe 3 weeks in a row and stuff like that. It was constant. Now she still attends, between Letterkenny and Dublin. The migraines, the same. We're waiting on appointments again for her in Dublin, so we're going 2 sides of the country again. So everything, I literally sort of bounce from one stress to the other. So I have to pick my moments to deal with my various stresses, if you know what I mean. So,
and the usual techniques we might use, everything's going to be all right, kids. I mean, those words will sound very hollow at this point to them. They've had to do a lot of growing up very quickly. As much as you've tried to protect them, they going to say to you, Mom, you said that 2 years ago, and here we are. We're going to be homeless now. Things are getting worse, Mom.
the blow of the house was huge because I turned around from that and said, oh my God, I said, that's it. We're guaranteed. We're safe. We're never having to move again. I said, pick a colour, get your curtains, decide what you want to do with the room. The room is yours. You can do whatever you want with it. Paint it whatever colour you want, put a nail in the wall, all of that. Luckily, we did not do any of that.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, though. Yeah.
Yes. But then to have to turn around and tell them, oh, actually, no, I was completely wrong. We're moving again. And now they're asking, where, when will we know? And I just have to say, I don't know. I do not know. And it's hard on everyone.
Yeah. I mean, in 6 months alone in this country, we had a 4.5 billion euro surplus, a 4.5 billion. That's above and beyond what we were actually anticipating. The gross exchequer revenue for 6 months, last 6 months last year, 62.8 billion, up 8.1 billion year on year. When you hear those type of figures being talked about, and you hear government politicians talking about how, we've got a really strong, robust economy. As someone who's lived here all your life, 55 years of age, you should be able to enjoy work and watch your children grow and develop. It must really, like it does for thousands of people across the county, it must feel like, I hate the word, but gaslighting, right?
It absolutely sickens me, when I hear about how well the country is doing, and I sit there and I look at my own surroundings and I think, well, I don't see it. I do not see any of it.
What could happen? Is it confirmation of this house? Is it, HAP saying, right, okay, listen, let's open up our search to 3 and 4 beds? What gives you some hope, Tricia, from a conversation like this, if you know what I mean? Because as it stands, it's still maybes. One thing for certain, you're homeless and your 5 kids are homeless on the 4th of November. Homeless in this county, right? Let's not sugarcoat that.
No.
You're in this sort of grey area of not being in a housing list but still entitled to HAP are looking at houses. They say, no, you need a 5 bed. You're saying, look at, we can deal with a 3 bed. The kids...
HAP don't look for houses for you. You look for the house yourself.
But in terms of what they will approve, sorry, I was just, but in terms of what, if you go back to HAP with a 3 bed house and you say this is perfect for us, will they entertain that?
To the best of my knowledge, no.
Yeah,
but
so that's the point I was making,
Yeah. And at this stage, because a few people have approached me and said, you should, go out and try looking again. At this stage, I don't want another house where I get HAP. I want a house where the landlord isn't going to turn around at some point and say, do you know what? I really don't want that property anymore. I'm going to sell. Goodbye. I want a house that I can call my own, that I'm not going to get kicked out of. Sorry.
But how does that happen? How does this situation progress from this phone call? Or do you feel it's more about getting the reality out there so people understand what's going on? You've been in contact with the council, you've been in contact with local politicians. Yeah. You've had, national politicians raise the issue on your behalf. What can happen now or between now and the 4th of November? A house is not going to appear as such. I'm just wondering, is there any assistance listeners can provide in terms of saying, I know a house such and such, or what, I want to know what possibly positive could come from this conversation with you.
Again, I was really just wanting to highlight the struggle that is sitting under people's noses that, they might not necessarily be aware of. Because, I would have people coming to me, oh, what about this house? What about this house? Again, generally speaking, they're too small. My hope is that someone will know a politician who can cut through some of this red tape and, instead of sitting up in the Dáil and saying we have to look after our most vulnerable members, to get up off their backsides and look at their most vulnerable members and realise that they're making their lives a lot more difficult. They are not helping at all.
I think too what local authorities need is, and I know this is a staffing issue, but they need someone that liaises with people like you. So that you don't feel that your emails are falling on deaf ears, or that maybe they just are deleted. I'm not saying they are, but sometimes if your emails go ignored, or the phone, someone that liaises with someone like you, and even if the news isn't fantastic, that you know exactly with what you're dealing with.
Yeah. It's still news. I'm aware of a disaster before, I'm told, I'm aware of, and an issue coming up, that's going to snag it, that's going to hold it up. I'm not a completely uneducated person. I understand that, when you're buying a house, when you're doing anything, humans are involved. People change their minds. That's all well and good. But, for me to know beforehand, this isn't going as well as we expected, then I can prepare myself and be ready. So to have somebody to liaise with would be absolutely brilliant. But like I say, they're understaffed. I can't actually fault my local council. I do know that they are trying, but their hands are tied from higher up in government and in policy.
Well, Tricia, listen, I appreciate you sharing the story with us. I mean, as I say, I'm not a mathematician, but this country is running a 25 billion euro surplus. And I know, we can't rely on that because it might not. I've been hearing the same stuff for 15 years. We are the size of a city. We are equivalent to the size of not even a major city, a reasonable sized city with 25 billion surplus. And I can't understand, and maybe I'm incredibly naive, I can't understand how that money can't be best spent to lift as many people as possible out of situations like yours. I say, it must be much more complex, but that's 25 billion over and above. Okay, listen, Tricia, love to all. I'm sorry, we can't really... the only way we end this phone call is if you feel that, listen, at least people know what's going on out there. Beyond that, maybe it might catch the ear of someone and something might come of it. What do you want to say finally, Tricia?
Just that I hope that nobody else finds themselves in the situation that I'm in, and that the more people who step forward and get loud about it and don't sit embarrassed about the fact that you're being made homeless. It's not your fault. This isn't my fault. And I think that's also, the shame that can be involved in it is huge. It's massive.
All right. Okay. Best wishes to you and the children as well. Thank you very much indeed, Tricia.
The 9 till Noon Show with the Northwest Truckfest, taking place this Saturday and Sunday on Neil T. Blinley Road, Letterkenny. Enjoy live music both days, family fun, the spectacular truck convoy, and so much more.
For the biggest names in perfume and aftershaves, visit McGee's Chemist Letterkenny. Dolce & Gabbana, Paco Rabanne, Carolina Herrera, Calvin Klein, Jimmy Choo and Burberry, Ariana Grande, Jean-Paul Gaultier, Vera Wang and many more. From timeless classics to celebrity favourites, there's a perfume or aftershave for everyone at McGee's Chemist Letterkenny and online at mcgees.ie.
If you're aged 59 to 70, we will invite you for a free HSE bowel screening home test. Screening can help find signs of bowel cancer early, before any symptoms show, making it easier to treat.
Is your little one starting big school this September? At Dunnes Stores, we've got you covered for those memorable milestones. From waving goodbye at the gate to snapping that first proud photo in their new uniform. Feel confident as they take their next big step with quality schoolwear. Pick up a 3-pack of Playproof polos from €5. Pair these with Easy Care joggers also from €5, plus a comfy sweatshirt from €3.75. Shop back to school in-store and online now. Dunnes Stores. Always better value. Terms and conditions apply.
Get ready for the Donegal League at Brian McCormick Sports. BMC teamwear, mitre training or match balls. View the value packs online at bmcsports.ie. Training equipment, water bottles, have them delivered or call in store. Brian McCormick Sports, sponsor of Donegal League Premier Division.
The Northwest Truckfest rolls back into Letterkenny this Saturday and Sunday on Neil T. Blinny Road. Enjoy live music and a truckload of family fun. This ad is sponsored by JD Recovery Services, Kilmacrenan and Donegal Town, 9139303.
The Rent-A-Room Relief Scheme is currently available, and you could earn up to €14,000 a year tax-free by renting rooms in your home to students. This scheme is open to everyone, and it won't affect your payments if you're in receipt of social welfare support. Find out more at gov.ie/room for a student, an initiative of the Government of Ireland.
Don't delay when you get your bowel screening invitation. Call us today on 1800 45 45 55 or visit bowelscreen.ie. From the HSE.
Okay, welcome back. Do you like walking? Well, if you do, you're going to love this new book. It's 50 Best Irish Walks. Its author is John G. O'Dwyer. He joins me on the programme now. Good morning, John. How are you keeping?
Very good, Greg. Thanks for the invite.
No, it's lovely to have you on the programme. You've been a keen walker, an outside adventurer even, for quite some time now, haven't you?
Yeah, I suppose, yeah. Scotland in winter and that at one stage of my life, and I managed to come out of it in one piece. So I've always been a lover of the mountains and the outdoors and taking on a challenge.
The community of walkers is massive in this country. Those that do it as part of clubs in organised way, not just within Ireland, but travelling abroad. I don't think maybe everybody knows how significant that community is.
Absolutely. I mean, it runs up to hundreds of thousands of people. There's no doubt about that. And, huge friends are made there. And, a lot of other clubs are very important as well. But the great thing here is that, we'll say if you're in a golf club, it's much more expensive getting the golf club, getting the lessons. And then there's always the thing, it's competitive. So it can be a little bit stressful that way. Hill walking is great. It builds a great camaraderie. And the thing about it is, at the end of the day, everybody's a winner.
What do you enjoy about it most, though? Like, I presume you go, excellent, right, I'm going for a lovely walk on Friday. I really can't wait. But what is it that you're looking forward to?
Well, actually, what I find about it is, and sometimes I just like walking on my own because I write a bit, and it seems to me for some reason that all my best ideas come to me when I'm actually out walking. I also find it calming. And I'd say if any of your listeners are speaking, if you think, what your mood is like, say it's kind of a stressful day and you say, well, out of 10, my mood is around 6 or 7. Go for a walk, and I'd bet you say, and come back just maybe even an hour and say, what's my mood like now? And it's more likely to be 8 or 9. I think you'll always, but look out for that. I always get that. But I love scenery. And then, of course, in my book, which I have there, 50 Best Irish Walks, I try to get the stories that are associated with each walk as well.
Now, how do you whittle it down to 50? Are these your actual 50 favourite rambles, or is it your 50 favourite rambles sort of taken into consideration the broad geography of the country?
Well, I suppose you would need a bit of a spread, but no, it's what I think.
They can't be all around mid-Tipperary is what I'm saying,
Yeah, there's a good lot there, all right. But that, of course, is in proximity because I walk them a lot and I enjoy them a lot. But remember, I have quite a lot. Not only have I 2 in Donegal, but remember, it's easy to moderate walks as well. So if you were talking the 50 best walks in Ireland, Ergil, which I was up there only about last year, that would certainly be in the top 50 if it was all walk. This is easy to moderate, looking at the kind of the family market, the people who like a stroll. And then, of course, they're often at lower level, so you often have a very good story as well. But if you look another area there, I have Antrim in it as well. Fermanagh just across there's the great story of the stairway to heaven in the Quilca Mountains. And, of course, I have Knocknaray just over the border in Sligo as well. So it's as good a spread, but I will think there is a bias towards Munster because I live there, and that's where you'll know the walks best.
And that is perfectly fine too. Just to give listeners an idea, if they wish to pick up the book, it's got beautiful pictures in it. It's got maps of routes, which I think, sometimes there are people with certain personality traits, I think, that hold themselves back because, am I allowed to go there? Well, where do I begin? I want to do it, but they don't know the info. And you give them that info. You give them an approximate time of the walk, an approximate distance, how to get there, where it begins, and how suitable it is for them. So as you say, whether it's a very easy walk or one that's a little bit challenging, and I think that makes it all the more accessible, John.
Yeah, I think the whole idea is that the countryside, the Irish countryside, despite what you see sometimes in headlines, has become massively more accessible. Because one time when I started off hill walking back in the 80s, really what you're speaking about is you had to be able to navigate and you could only go up the high mountains. Now there are low-level walks all over the place, and there are literally thousands of them in the country. I had to whittle it down to 50. But what I tried to do is make the Irish countryside accessible, and I always think from a lot of reasons, if you can develop the habit of going for a walk regularly, it's a gift that keeps on giving all your life.
I'm very lucky, as many people listening to this program are blessed with, beautiful sea cliffs, coasts, coastal walks, the scenery. And that means for me, I get I'm not a massive walker, I'm not going to pretend, but I get a particular pleasure from walking in the woods, like a dirt path through, massive trees and sort of that different style of stuff. You cover all different types of walks, don't you? Your parkland, in inverted commas, to use that golf analogy, your forest walks, your island walks, your coastal walks. There's something for everyone in there.
Yeah, and I think particularly, of course, then if you talk about my favourite walk, I love coastal walks. And of course, the two walks, Horn Ahead, that I have in, and that wonderful cliff walk from Glencolmkill up to the deserted village of Port, of course, those are cliff walks. And I love the visceral Donegal coastline. That's what attracts me. And not obviously when it's dangerous, but if there's a good strong wind and there's spray in your face and whatever, I always find actually a greater connection. But there are people who love the wood walks, and of course down around then Tipperary and Munster, there are a lot of very beautiful walks there because it's a very much a landscape that supports trees.
Yeah, and listen, I think this is a lovely book for everyone. I'm not just saying that, but, particularly people, outdoorsy people, those who maybe travel for work, those who go visiting family or just head for, little breaks within the country, throw it into your glove box as well, because it is broken down by region and by county and what have you. And as I say, very accessible, and it gives people that knowledge and that confidence to sort of go and experience different parts of our most beautiful country.
Yeah, people are fascinated by what walks are in their own county. What I always say is more interesting. It's a glove compartment. Throw it in there. So you're Donegal people, you're in Mayo, you're down in holidays in Kerry, you're over in Wicklow. Pull it out and pull out a couple of the walks there and go for them. I think it's making the countryside. Remember then, all these walks, you know where you're going. They all have uncontested access. You won't have an angry farmer coming out to you saying, why am I crossing your land?
Okay, it's 50 best Irish walks, easy to moderate. John G. O'Dwyer is the author. It's available in all bookshops and also from currabooks.com. So that's CURRACH, currabooks.com. Well done, John. Enjoy. Keep on walking.
Wonderful. And I'm telling you, I'm coming back up to Donegal for the wonderful Donegal Camino. I'll be joining on that, and I hope to meet lots of Donegal.
Brilliant. You might meet us. Are you doing all of it, John?
Or... I'm doing all of it. I'm doing the last few days. I'm coming up on Wednesday night and doing Thursday and Friday. I was there last year as well. It's a wonderful...
Caroline, what day are we doing? We're doing Thursday. Yeah, so no, we'll see you on the walk. We're doing the Aaronmore Island walk as well here. So we'll see you then, John.
We'll see you then. That's wonderful. Looking forward to it.
Take care of yourself. Goodbye. Okay. We're going to have to start talking about that a little bit more too. I'll sort that out for tomorrow. So there, John G. O'Dwyer is enthusiastic, and I love enthusiasm because I find it quite... I find myself quite open to it, and it gives me a lift. So that's 50 best Irish walks, easy to moderate. Glencolmkill, Hornhead, what's featured in Donegal. But there's so many people out and about enjoying. I do be jealous sometimes. I do be jealous. I could probably, you know what? I was about to say that I don't have time, and that's a load of BOLL, because really we all, for the most part, if we're blessed with good health to be able to get out, I have time. I just say I don't have time, but if the truth be told, I could organise things better, or not sit in my arse as long, or not watch that on the TV and go out and have a walk. So I do have the time. I just say I don't have the time as some sort of an excuse because I'm, I don't know, probably lazy. Anyway, I am going to make an effort, maybe next year.
The 9 till noon show with the Northwest Truckfest this Saturday and Sunday on Neil T. Blinny Road, Letterkenny. Gates open to the public at 4 on Saturday and 11 a.m. on Sunday, with proceeds to Cancer Care West.
Make the most of the last weeks of summer at Century Complex. Enjoy blockbuster movies, indoor soft play, thrilling crazy golf and delicious family meals, all under one roof. Rain or shine, there's fun for everyone this August. Century Complex, perfect for keeping the kids entertained whatever the weather. Visit centurycinemas.ie for more information.
How we use electricity can be smarter, cleaner and greener. At Electric Ireland, we can help guide you there. Our Net Zero Hub has all you need to know about smart meter plans, home EV chargers, solar panels, heat pumps and much more. Making your usage clearer, your trips greener, your home cosier and your world brighter. Find our Net Zero Hub at electricireland.ie.
Welcome to Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms in Donegal Town. Discover affordable luxury with their bespoke fitted furniture solutions. With almost 30 years of serving Ireland and the Northwest, we're your trusted experts. Visit us Monday to Friday 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. and on Saturdays from 9 a.m. until 3:30 p.m. Book your free consultation today on 074 9725822 or visit cherrymore.ie. Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms, where affordability and luxury combine.
Get ready for the new school term at your local Maple store. Whether it's stocking up on lunchbox snacks, after-school treats or everyday essentials, we've got everything you need. Plus, when you spend in-store this month, you could win a back-to-school box packed with snacks, stationery and more. Pop into your nearest Maple, Milford Express, Carrigart, Falcarra and Castlefin. Express, Burtonport, Derrybeg, Ballyliffin or Moville. Maple stores, keeping it fresh, local and convenient. Follow your Maple store on Facebook for more.
Wheeling bulls break the €6 per kilo barrier. In this week's Irish Farmers Journal, we analyse the bumper trade for weanings this autumn. Record smashed in sheep breeding sales. We reveal how new research could safeguard Ireland's calf exports. Farmers react angrily to critics of rising food prices. Top 5 TAMS investments under €2,000. Plus, in the latest of our Farm Succession series, we detail legal and tax advice and transferring land to your family. Only inside this week's Irish Farmers Journal, on sale now.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhinney's. Get back to school sorted with all the essentials from school jumpers to shoes. Visit our kidswear department in store or shop online at mcelhinneys.com today.
All right, mostly dry today with limited sunny spells. There is a chance of an odd light shower about further south in the county, though, it has to be said. Temperatures 17 to 20 degrees in light variable breezes. A caller says, if I have time for it just before. Morning, Greg. Yet again, our systems don't work. I never understand why we tend to copy the UK in terms of systems rather than efficient countries like Holland or Scandinavia. That lady's landlord wants to sell the house. Could the council buy it? Or does that sound too simple and sensible? The council were on the brink of buying it, but unfortunately the negotiations fell through. So it was going to be a resident in situ, but it fell through, and that's part of the heartbreak for her and her family.
The 9 till noon show with the Northwest Truckfest, taking place this Saturday and Sunday on Neil T. Blinny Road, Letterkenny. Enjoy live music both days, family fun, the spectacular truck convoy, and so much more.
Highland Bakery brings the magic to your morning tea break. Golden scones, still warm, soft in the middle and impossible to resist. Look for the packet with the rabbit on it. Fresh from the oven to your local shop. 25 years of Highland Bakery.
I'm at Dublin Airport Terminal 1 doing a survey. Oh, here's someone. Excuse me, do you mind if I ask you a question? How far did you have to park from the airport? Oh, that far. Did you know that if you'd taken an expressway coach, it would have been super comfy and so easy to book, and it would have dropped you right here at the door? Oh, You didn't. Oh well, next time. Bye. If you're going to Dublin Airport, book online at expressway.ie and get right to the door. Don't go the car way, go expressway. Way better.
Flame grilled steaks, fresh salads and indulgent desserts. It's all on the menu at the Woodbury Grill Bar and Restaurant at Arena 7. Great food, fast service and a warm welcome this summer at the Woodbury Grill Bar and Restaurant, Arena 7, Letterkenny.
Injuries happen, illness strikes, but waiting in A&E doesn't have to be your only option. At Ophidia Letterkenny Minor Injuries and Illness Clinic, we treat everything from broken bones, cuts, burns, infections, rashes and more, with X-ray on site so you get answers fast. No appointments, no delays, just expert care right when you need it. Don't wait. Walk in today or visit ophidia.ie. Ophidia Letterkenny. Expert care without the wait.
Roll on more full trolleys for even less with Lidl Plus. This week, you could spend just €86 on a full trolley worth €117 and save over an incredible €30. Push your savings further with new offers on the Lidl Plus app every week. Scan, pay and save with Lidl Plus. T's and C's apply. See Lidl.ie/Lidl Plus savings.
By taking the bus, the train, walking or cycling whenever you can, you're playing a part in helping to reduce Ireland's transport emissions. To help you on your way, this year over €1.6 billion is being invested in public transport nationwide and over €1 million a day on our walking and cycling routes. This has helped more people than ever to access more sustainable transport, because wherever you're going, your journey counts. Visit gov.ie/your journey counts. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
The Northwest Truckfest takes place this Saturday and Sunday on Neil T. Blinny Road, Letterkenny, featuring trucks from all over Ireland and a truck convoy through Letterkenny Main Street on Sunday at 5. This ad is sponsored by K&F Superwools, 9139043.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio.
11 o'clock, let's get a news update and welcome back into studio, Donald Kavanagh.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning. Police in Derry say a young man found in a distressed state in the John Street area of the city this morning has been reunited with his mother. They'd put out an urgent appeal for assistance in identifying his parents on social media. They later confirmed that thanks to people calling in, the situation had been resolved. There are hopes that 17 houses at Lochfern Heights in Milford will soon be available to people on the council's waiting list. The Tyrconnell Tribune is reporting today the houses are being bought by Donegal County Council. A previous offer from the council had been rescinded following a rise in costs. Councillor Liam Blaney said on the 9 till Noon show this morning he believes it's an approved housing body which is about to buy the houses rather than the council. He says while he would prefer they were in council ownership, the most important thing is they are becoming available. Local Councillor Michael McClaverty says following a computer issue in the Ardsbeg pumping station overnight, there will be no water in the Dunmore area of Falcarra until at least 12 noon today, with other areas in the vicinity set to be out until later this evening. He says there is water in Falcarra, but the pressure is low in places. Councillor McClaverty believes the restrictions being seen in other areas around Milford and Downings will soon be seen in Falcarra and Gortha Hork. Meanwhile, mains repair works near the Twin Towns may cause disruptions in Knock, Whitehall, Glencovett, Carn and surrounding areas over the coming hours. Uisce Éireann says works are scheduled to take place there until 2 o'clock this afternoon. And in international news, the US says Europe will have to provide its own security guarantees for Ukraine if a peace deal is reached with Russia. The US Vice President says the EU will have to take over the lion's share of the burden to protect Ukraine when the fighting ends. Speaking to Fox News, JD Vance said Europe must shoulder most of the responsibility because it's their continent. And we're back with news headlines again at 12 noon.
Donald, thanks very much.
The Rent-A-Room Relief Scheme is currently available, and you could earn up to €14,000 a year tax-free by renting rooms in your home to students. This scheme is open to everyone, and it won't affect your payments if you're in receipt of social welfare support. Find out more at gov.ie/room for a student, an initiative of the Government of Ireland.
Interesting post from the Gardaí in Donegal here. Letterkenny Road Policing Unit were operating a mandatory intoxicant testing checkpoint last night in the Letterkenny area. They stopped an unaccompanied learner driver They tested positive for cocaine, and the driver was uninsured, no tax on the car for 843 days. They were arrested, the car seized, fixed charge penalty notice issued, and of course court proceedings are to follow. So unaccompanied, no tax, no insurance, and coke in the system. Right, now in studio with me, John O'Donnell, Chair of the Kilmacrenan Community Development Group and Kilmacrenan Celtic Football Club. Good morning to you. How are you getting on?
Morning, Greg. Yeah, all good.
How's post-politics life for you?
Oh, it's been good. It's been a wee bit quieter anyway, thank God.
Are you finished with it now?
Well, you never know, I suppose.
Well,
you
don't
never
give me that. That's enough.
Rule
You're
nothing in, rule nothing out. But no,
right.
I'm happy the way I am.
Yeah, of course. Right, Saturday the 23rd of August. It's a big, big day, isn't it, for Kilmacrenan?
It is indeed. Look, it's a day that has been longly awaited for the people of Kilmacrenan, especially people from the football club. I suppose it's been founded in 1977, and it's the first time ever that they have a full-size soccer pitch and full facilities that we needed for a long time. So it's been 10 years on the going for ourselves trying to get this up and running through, the Kilmacrenan Community Development. So we've been working hard on it, and thankfully it's ready to be officially open now on Saturday by no better man than Father Denny McGettigan from Kilmacrenan.
Brilliant. So how long has the club been in existence? Did you just reference that?
Yeah, 1977.
Yeah.
So it'll be 50 years in the club now in another 2 years' time.
Yeah, so it's really, it's significant now, but it's going to be significant on the half-century anniversary, isn't it, to have these fantastic facilities there?
It is indeed, Greg, yeah, and I suppose with the last phase, we had 4 phases of the development. Phase 1, I suppose, was we wanted to get a community playground incorporated, so we got a site identified that would be big enough to be able to cater for everything. Phase 2 was the new Astro, state-of-the-art Astro. Phase 3 now is the full-size soccer pitch, and Phase 4 is the one that we're just starting works on now. In 2 to 3 weeks' time, we have a contractor appointed to carry out the works of the new clubhouse and community complex, and that'll be very, very good for the local community as well. So that'll hopefully be officially opened then on the 50th anniversary of the club.
Brilliant stuff, because of course this is about the football club, but it's like any sporting organisation, it's really the whole community, isn't it?
It is indeed, yeah. Look, you can't do these things without the community behind you, as I'm sure you're fully aware. So the community has supported us in all types of fundraising campaigns that we've had. Like, as I said, 10 years ago we had our country fest down there. We had a couple of country fests that ran well to get things going at the start. Then we had also followed up by the 50-50. We ran the 50-50 through the community development. And then we incorporated it into the new thrift shop. So we have a charity shop there now down in the main street in Kilmacrenan on the old village court building. So it's doing very well, and the volunteers and everybody involved in there. It'd be wrong of me not to give them a special mention here today, because without that stream of income coming into the community development, we definitely wouldn't be able to fund what we're doing at the minute with our bridging loans and stuff from Clan Credo, who's our funder as well. It'd be wrong not to mention them.
Yeah, because obviously you draw down any funds that are available nationally or through any streams that are there, but it's all matched. There has to be a great deal of fundraising done, and people might be interested to hear even having to take out bridging loans as a community organisation. There's a lot to it. It's a mini business, or a big business.
Yeah, it's a big business, and I suppose for the football club, there was no real structure within the football club to be able to do that. So that's why we formed Kilmacrenan Community Development 10 years ago. And there's 8 directors there on that organisation that are responsible for the day-to-day running of it and carrying the liability as well until the loans are cleared. As you said, look, we've had to match fund as well with funding we're getting, but to get that funding it's great help to us. We had the Sports Capital Fund there, and we had DLDC, and we had leader funding. And we had Donegal County Council as well, which was not part of our original plan, but it was great to get they come on board and give us funding, which would have been, you could call it now phase 5 of the project, which is that we got a new walkway and path linked right up onto the village at the Millbridge shop there. So that took people off the main Leader Road, it took them up the Ballyboe Road. Local people in the area would know where I'm talking about. And it all happened, I suppose, from us getting the land and getting permission to use that greenway and walkway from the O'Driscoll family, which would be Gus and Libby and their family, because we were very fortunate that we got them the vast amount of land that we needed from them at a massive reduction in price. Because at the start, whenever we went to do it in 2015, Greg, the council were forthcoming with a site as well, in the middle of the town, but it wasn't going to be big enough to cater for anything other than just a pitch. And I suppose our master plan included a lot more than that, so we had to look elsewhere.
So a development like this, is this really to match the needs of the club and the community, or does this set a foundation for maybe where the club might go? So if you know what I mean. So when this is all done and dusted, and hopefully by the half century anniversary, you know, like where can this facility go in terms of the club itself or for the community, or what?
Yeah, well, I suppose, look, anybody that's involved in football knows what football clubs is all about. It starts at academies. You have a young family yourself. So you have young children coming and they get integrated into the local community, and they come up through the academy, and then they leave the academy, they go to underage, they leave the underage and they go to play for seniors, Saturday teams. And you never know, we might get a George Best out of Kilmacrenan, yet we've had a few that were fairly close. You know, so you're just bringing on good players, and you're bringing people to be able to get involved in community organisations, and to be getting integrated into the community as well, because as you know, we've people from all cultures and all walks of life, so it's good. It's a good thing, and where we're going now is, I suppose, for ourselves, is just to focus on the football side of things, focus on the fitness side of things for people. We have a walking track and all around the pitch and stuff like that, and hopefully if we get the building now, we're going to have meeting rooms there and going to hold more classes, and like we have a lot of active groups in the village there now. We have the Young at Heart, we have the men's shed with the young toddlers groups and that, and we have a town hall, surely. But the town hall can only do so much, so it's good to have another facility that we can
it's a lot.
grow.
There's communities of similar sizes, you know, couldn't enjoy half of that, which I think is impressive. Saturday the 23rd of August is an important date. It's the official opening of the Kilmacrenan Celtic. It's Celtic, isn't it?
Yeah, Kilmacrenan Celtic pitch, yeah.
Celtic, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but I knew it was Celtic, but I started to doubt myself. So it's the official opening of the Kilmacrenan Celtic FC football pitch. And I suppose given the nature of this being a sort of a community facility, it's a big community event. And thankfully, we know the weather's going to play ball for the most part, which is the one thing that we can't really plan for. So talk to us about what's happening on Saturday.
Yeah, well, I suppose on Saturday we're going to have it all kicking off at 12 o'clock. So it's more of a kind of a family fun day. So we're going to have face painting, we're going to have bouncy castles there, we're going to have all types of arts and crafts stalls there. We're going to also have a catering trailer there for to be able to feed people. We're going to have blitzes running for all types of age groups of the underage, as I say, the academy playing their matches in football. And then we have Finn Harp Select side going to be playing the Kilmacrenan Select at 5 o'clock. And of course, the most important
part. Will shin pads
be
needed for that?
Huh?
Will shin pads be needed for that?
I would say so, but the only one good thing about it is if it's safe enough, I'll definitely not be playing. I think anybody knows me knows I have two left feet. So I suppose the most important part of the day will be the official opening, Greg.
Yeah, talk to me about that because it is the Joseph McGettigan Park, and it is Father Dinny McGettigan that's doing the official opening at 3 p.m. So talk to me about that, the significance of that.
Yeah, well, look, I suppose the Joseph McGettigan Park is something that's very significant because I suppose Joseph's mother and father, Lawrence and Eileen, would be very well known and very well regarded in the town. Have a quarry in Kilmacrenan, and obviously when we acquired the site it needed a lot of fill, so it was going to cost hundreds of thousands to be able to fill this land and get it up to the level. So Lawrence was good enough, himself and Eileen, Lawrence approached me and he said that he would be willing to give us the fill for free of charge from the quarry. So we started engaging with Lawrence and getting the wheels in motion and getting permissions that we needed to be able to fill the ground. And then on the back of that, then we have had a Joseph McGettigan Memorial tractor run, which would have ran as well year on year there as well, just to mark the I suppose young Joseph the impact that he had in the local area, because anybody knew young Joseph, he was a likeable young lad, you know, he was good fun and he was involved in a lot of things as well, and he had a good bright future. And unfortunately, he was tragically killed back in 2017. And I suppose for me, at the time, I was actually in Scotland working, and I got the phone call, and it's a dreaded phone call for anybody in the local community that knew him, but also I can imagine what it was like for the mother and father. So they played a massive role in us in relation to getting the site to the level that we could actually apply for drawdown grants and funding. And I suppose ourselves as a committee, we thought the nice touch and nice thing to do would be to mark that by calling it the Joseph McGettigan Park, which has definitely fitted in well with everybody in the local area. And then again, Father Denny McGettigan is a parish priest who would have been based in Rafo, and previous to that in Glencolmkill, and we would know Father Denny for years. I remember as a young lad up there lifting wool and going past him in the truck, and you'd stop to give him a lift. He'd done a lot of walking and he would tell you to keep going, because that's the way he was. He was a lovely man. He is a lovely man, and he's carrying out the official cutting of the tape, because we just want to keep it that it's non-political as well, Greg.
And it keeps the community theme going. Not that our politicians aren't part of the community, but I get where you're coming from. Yeah. So the fun day starts at noon. Bouncy Castle, fast food, ice cream, a tuck shop, face painting, music and refreshments. Then there'll be a small selection. There'll be a small-sided football series of games from a selection of Kilmacrenan Celtic teams. The official opening by Father Denny at 3 p.m. And then, as you heard John mention, there will be a Kilmacrenan select and a Finn Harp select taking part in a game at 5 p.m. And then on Friday the 29th, there's a sort of a tag on to this, isn't there? There is a fun 3K walk run around the Ballybow Loop. It's on Friday the 29th of August at 7:30 p.m. And I know organisers are hoping that all families will join them for a lovely evening. There will also be chip timing for the more competitive athletes. So lots and lots going on between Saturday the 23rd and then that 3K walk run on the 29th. All right, John, best of luck with it all. It's a fantastic community achievement, and obviously there are key people involved in the development group that can take a great deal of credit for it as well. It's lovely. It's nice to be announcing something so positive.
Yeah, it is indeed. And look, I would just say to your listeners as well, and anybody in the community that has been supporting us with the fundraising, that we're nearing an end. We're launching our Club 300 now. We've launched it last week, and we will be starting to hit the road selling our Club 300. But to just let everybody know that's buying these, that it's only a 3-year plan until we get our debts wiped out, and then after that we'll be leaving everybody alone.
The begging bowl will be going back in the cupboard.
Exactly, and I think everybody will be glad to hear that.
Well, listen, at the end of the day, though, you're asking the community to participate in something where they can sort of win and get involved with as well, but also it's a legacy. It's there for their kids, their grandkids, and so on. John O'Donnell, Chair of the Kilmacrenan Community Development Group and Kilmacrenan Celtic Football Club, thanks for coming in.
No bother, thanks, Greg.
The 9 till noon show with the Northwest Truckfest this Saturday and Sunday on Neil T. Blinny Road, Letterkenny. Gates open to the public at 4 on Saturday and 11 a.m. on Sunday, with proceeds to Cancer Care West.
Who's watching your home while you're asleep, at work, or on holiday? With the Sheridan Security Alarm System, you can be assured of round-the-clock monitoring. Our central monitoring station is on duty 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, monitoring homes and businesses in the Northwest for intruder, fire, panic, and medical signals, giving you the peace of mind you deserve. Sheridan Security Systems, Bonagee, Letterkenny, protecting what you value most. Call us for a free quotation on 9126. 6025.
Since I switched to Hidden Hearing, I can hear it all. You could save up to €3,000 off invisible hearing aids. Save when you switch to us, upgrade, or save on your very first hearing aids. Pre-phone 1-800-370-000. Switch and save at hiddenhearing.ie. You should go to the hearing experts. T's and C's apply.
I'm Fionnuala Fibre O'Farrell Flynn, racing across the country to keep up with NBI's fibre rollout. Over 50 broadband providers are using NBI's network to bring high-speed fibre broadband to homes across Ireland. So from Ballyliffin to Ballybuffet, homeowners can pick whatever package suits their needs and still get all the benefits of rural Ireland's dedicated fibre broadband network. Connect at nbi.ie.
NBI is delivering the government's national broadband plan.
Another connection. Oh, I knew I shouldn't have worn heels.
Discover a new way to cook outdoors with the Ninja Woodfire Electric Barbecue Grill, now at Ben Sweeney Euronics. It's a grill, smoker and air fryer all in one, with 7 cooking functions, no charcoal, gas or flames needed. Woodfire technology delivers real smoky flavour anywhere, in the garden, patio or in the campsite. Weather resistant and ready year round. Get the Ninja Woodfire Electric Barbecue Grill at Ben Sweeney Euronics, Letterkenny and Dunlow.
Don't miss the Northwest Truckfest this Saturday and Sunday on Neil T. Blinny Road, Letterkenny. Enjoy live music on Saturday from 4 till 8 p.m. with a special sensory hour on Sunday morning from 9 till 10. This ad is sponsored by Donegal Oil. 9121633.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is...
The time now is 11:18. You're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show here on Highland Radio. Just to remind you, 086 60 25,000 is the WhatsApp and text number, or give us a call on 074 91 25,000. Trudy O'Donnell is a music teacher, musician, presenter here on Highland Radio, and performer, and one of the judges at this year's Letterkenny Busking Festival. Trudy, good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg, and all the listeners out there.
I can't believe this is the 10th annual Letterkenny Busking Festival.
It's crazy, isn't it? But it just shows the success of the festival as well, and it's growing every single year. So this year, we already have 30 plus entries. We're close to 40 entries as well. So, and that's a variety of performers. That's musicians, artists, dancers, absolutely everything. Because I think a lot of time when people think of a busking festival, they just presume it's all about musicians, whereas it's a variety. Like the streets of Letterkenny will be filled with absolute everything, talent of all descriptions from all over the Northwest, all over Ulster and further as well.
Now, and it's all in, excuse me, jammed into 2 hours as well too. So it's on Saturday between 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. So for those who aren't aware, and if you wanted to go, how do you go about it? Right, you park somewhere and then you can meander, can you? There are different performers in different parts of the town?
Yes, so the performances are from 1:30 to 3 p.m. An hour and a half performing is enough for a lot of the performers. So it's very, very important that all of these performers have an audience. And that's the thing. There's no point in people performing on the streets if they don't have somebody to show the support and cheer them on. So it generally happens from just above the traffic lights. One of the years we actually had it up above Max Mace, but there'll be performers along different slots right from the top of the town right down below where the Ulster Bank would be, below the Market Square. So they're just jotted all over the streets there in various slots. So basically the audience, you, the people that are listening and coming to support, can park anywhere. You can walk then, and it's just lovely to start at one end and walk down and then walk back. I always think sometimes it's nice to see the person twice because, you know, there's such a variety of things that they're performing and doing as well. It's lovely to see that. So yeah, the streets open as well. As you know, Letterkenny Main Street, both sides of it. Lovely footpath, so there's lots of space as well for people to watch and support the artists. So that's from 1:30 to 3.
And also,
And then-
I just want to talk a bit more about the busking, then we'll get on to what's happening next. Because, you know, like, there's going to be people, you know, maybe who are you know, getting to grips with live performing, those that have been doing it for ages. Because busking, like, I think of Ali Sherlock, for an example, who's incredibly successful. She's a big act in her own right, big support. She's undergoing a big tour. She still goes out busking in Dublin on a regular occasion. The likes of your Ed Sheeran, he started off busking, and there's a massive pathway from people who started off busking, continue to do so, and then go on to have greater careers. As a music teacher, and part of your job, I suppose, is to instill confidence and development into artists. Busking's a fantastic way, I presume, to sort of get your way out there in an environment that's not a pub, it's not 10 o'clock at night, you know, just to get out there and get used to performing live and getting your music to a new audience.
Exactly, and it's a safe space as well, because I suppose you can repeat, like a lot of people that are starting there now, maybe young musicians, and we have that every year at the Busking Festival. Musicians of all ages just starting out, some more accomplished and experienced. But if you're somebody just starting out, your repertoire is going to be limited. You might only have maybe 3 or 4 songs, whereas at the Busking, you can do those and you can repeat them because people are moving on.
Yeah.
You're not standing doing a 2-hour gig. You know, you can repeat that. You might have 2 or 3 fantastic songs that you're good at. You might have some that you want to try out, and you can do that as well because you get little quiet slots. It's very much of judging what's in front of you, but it is a great, great opportunity for any performer of any age, because once you have that form of a stage, that does instill the confidence in you. It builds on your confidence. You know, anybody that can stand and perform in front of an audience of any description, that's a fantastic achievement in itself. So taking part, setting up, performing at all at the Busking Festival is an achievement.
Yeah.
And especially when you have the supporters and the audience is there to support you, because that's the big one as well. They're supporting everybody.
And
They're
that's
not
where our listeners come
judging.
in. That's where our listeners come in. Get out
They're
and
so important.
go and plan it as part of your Saturday, your shopping, or whatever you might be doing, or mix the whole lot into one. Right. So you mentioned there's already been great interest in this, heading towards 40 acts that have registered. For anyone who's listening to this and they themselves want to get involved, or maybe, their son or daughter or cousin or whoever it is, they want to encourage that. Is it too late to register, and how does one go about doing so if it's not?
No, it's not too late at all. Still taking entries. So if you would like to enter yourself or a friend, a member of the family, with their permission, obviously, don't force anybody into it. You can head over to the Facebook page. Letterkenny Busking Festival has a Facebook page, and there's a link there to enter as well. And all of the information then will be input into that link, and you'll get all of the instructions back.
And is amplification essential, Trudy? Because some people might go, right, well, I have a guitar, or but I don't have an amp and a mic. You don't need that, do you?
No, not at all. It's not at all necessary. Some people like to have it themselves, maybe just to give themselves a little boost, or sometimes if you're playing obviously electric instruments, you need that amp, you might need to balance it, but it's absolutely not essential. You can just turn up on your own and sing or perform. You don't need anything. Nothing is needed, just you to perform in whatever your performance is.
Right, and as an extra incentive, there's a €500 cash prize, a €500 prize for the winner. That's the top prize.
Winner.
Right, so what else is happening?
So there's €1,000 prize money in total.
Okay, cool.
Out of that, €1,000. And very lucky, because this is organised by the Letterkenny Chamber in conjunction with Shop LK, and supported as well by the Donegal County Council. So €1,000 in prize money to give away, and out of that, €500 will be given to the winner. So it depends then. Like last year, we had a duo from Derry, Tessio, they won it. The previous year, we had the Letterkenny Ukulele Orchestra that won it. So, I mean, you can be very lucky as a solo artist and get the 500. But again, we get a variety of groups, individuals as well. But €1,000 is great to divide that up. So it's divided up then in various amounts for runners up as well. Yep.
So is there anything else going on afterwards, or is it all in that sort of nice little tight window?
Well, after 3:00 then we have the prize given ceremony then.
Oh, cool.
And that takes place in the beautiful venue at the back of Blake's pub up there at the Upper Main Street. And we are so lucky this year to have Clan Brannock, the Brannock family there performing. They're a talented traditional musicians from Letterkenny as well. Mum Sinead, Dad Colum, and their 4 children, other extremely talented. So they're going to be performing. And they've actually performed the past good few years as well as part of the Busking Festival. So people will be familiar with them. And I know they were on live. Sinead and Colum were on live last night actually with Colin Ferreter.
There you go.
So they're no strangers to Highland Radio.
No,
either.
and last year's winners too. Tessia were featured very heavily in our Search for Heroes music competition. All right, brilliant stuff.
And that's it.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, listen, Trudy, thank you very much. Go ahead.
Just a little note, I suppose, for the listeners. I know I'm one of the judges on Saturday, as is our own Paul McDevitt, Martin Orr. But we also have a number of secret judges that are plotted around as well, that will be going up and down the streets of Letterkenny, because some people might see myself coming, or a couple of the other judges, and know that we're judging. But we also have a variety of judges that will be on the street as well. We always have those secret judges there as well on the day. So just so that the performers aren't just kind of waiting, and maybe sometimes they might get nervous sometimes, but there's absolutely no need for anybody to be nervous. We're there to support them and encourage them, and we're there to have the most amazing day ever, because it is a fantastic day in Letterkenny. So I do urge all our listeners to get out on Saturday, 1:30 Letterkenny Main Street, and support everybody that's taken part in this year's Letterkenny Busking Festival.
Thanks, Trudy. Trudy O'Donnell there, who is one of those judges, as you mentioned. So get involved if you wish. Why wouldn't you? Go on, push yourself out there. It's very rare you get an opportunity to perform in public where, you know, everyone wants you to do well. Everyone, if you make a wee blip, won't care. It doesn't matter. Just to get out there and do your thing. Step out of the bedroom or in front of your family and go out and do it in public. And who's to say what might come from of it? Check out the Chambers Facebook page. A caller says, has he ever walked the Merva to Rosnala coastal walk? The scenery is fabulous on both ways. Can I say I spent my entire life in and around Merva? We spent every day of the summer from, do you know what actually was amazing? We would have, I don't know what age, 7, 8, 9, got on our bikes and headed off. There was no phones. There was no, we left in the mornings and we come home in the evenings. That really makes me sound like an old man, doesn't it? And you know what? Maybe I am. But I don't know. I just saw the word Murphy. I mean, we used to just head away. We'd get up at 7:30 and go. You wouldn't see us. Often, sometimes we wouldn't come back till evening, and we were perfectly fine. We weren't doing too much wrong. We were just out fishing or swimming or climbing trees or cycling through the woods. And I was never worried about, I knew what time I had to be home, and I was never worried about, is my phone going off? Is my phone charged? Such absolute freedom. But the point I'm getting to here is I wasn't aware there was a coastal walk from Merva to Rosnala. I'm quite embarrassed to say. Greg, it all sounds good. My parents are very close to 80. 2 years ago, they wanted to sell the rental house because they were too old for it. But when the tenant was notified, they still have the property with HAP doing their best to block it. Right, so they're still in 2 years later, are they? Another caller says the politicians don't care because these issues don't affect them, especially the ministers in the Dáil. That's why people are protesting so much. People coming into the country are getting homes, welfare, etc. with no red tape, but people like that woman and children have to beg and plead for basic amenities. It has to be said as well, the amount of politicians that are landlords is huge compared to the general population. You have far more landlords in the Dáil than you have tenants. So I don't know what the insignificance of that, but it's not insignificant. I feel sorry for that woman and her family. Let's face the facts here, Greg. Mass immigration is added to the housing list. If you lived in LK, you'd see it and hear it. Time to look after our own. Donegal is full. But who's our own now? Like, how long do you have to have been here before? Like, I know there's a lot of Ukrainian families now, for an example, who are being granted citizenship. They've been granted citizenship in recent times. Are they our own, or are you counting them as not our own? Do you get where I'm coming from? I'm not trying to be controversial. I am just saying it's a complicated matter, even just making a passing comment in relation to it. Caroline, she's away. Okay, she'll be back in a sec. Well, I'd love our new president to be capable of speaking Irish. I'd also love he had intelligence and capability, not some no one parachuted in because he's a millionaire. But would you say that our current president has intelligence and capability? I think so, but he would be a former Labour politician and I suppose to some extent was parachuted in. It's amazing how our so-called honest mainstream media have totally stopped mentioning the names of Dee Forbes and Enoch Burke on any radio or TV station at all. Dee Forbes, she was the RTE one, was she? I can't remember anyway. Enoch Burke, the Burke family have gone quiet. I haven't heard anything from. What do you want me to say about Enoch Burke? Just out of interest, what do you think that I'm going to say I'm the mainstream media, right? What is it about Dee Forbes or Enoch Burke you want me to talk about? Do you want me to talk about Enoch Burke negatively or positively? I don't fully understand, and I'm genuinely not being smart. I haven't read or heard anything from Enoch Burke. I haven't seen much posted on the Burke social media. So what is it you want me to talk about? A caller says, country is awash with money, Greg. School secretaries have to strike next week on pension issues. This issue's going on for 20 years. Every time we knock on the Department of Education door, we're told no money. And we have spoken to school secretaries for all of those 20 years. And we thought we'd gotten somewhere. We thought that, that issue had been resolved. And really now it was just down to maybe getting caretakers over the line. But it's not. It's still ongoing. I'm going to take a break. Back with more shortly.
The 9 till noon show with the Northwest Truckfest, taking place this Saturday and Sunday on Neil T. Blinley Road, Letterkenny. Enjoy live music both days, family fun, the spectacular truck convoy, and so much more.
If you're aged 59 to 70, we will invite you for a free HSE bowel screening home test. Screening can help find signs of bowel cancer early, before any symptoms show, making it easier to treat.
It's the Right Price Tiles wood flooring and bathware 70% off sale. Get up to 70% off all your purchases. Up to 70% off all tiles, all wood flooring, all bathware. Everything's reduced in store. The 70% off sale at Right Price Tiles wood flooring and bathware. Stores nationwide. Sale now on.
If you're looking to refresh your home, visit Foy's Fabric Department in Letterkenny. We've got ready-made curtains, made-to-measure options, window blinds of every kind and so much more. From cushions and throws to upholstery fabrics, you can choose from top designer brands and get advice from our experienced interior design team. Style it your way with the Fabric Department at Foy's in Letterkenny.
Leisureland Redcastle open every day all summer long. Perfect for family day trips. Offers excellent value for birthday party packages. For a memorable family experience this summer, visit Leisureland Redcastle. See leisurelandredcastle.ie for more details.
Nutria's Weanling Crunch is on promotion at your local Homeland. Buy 10 bags of Nutria's Weanling Crunch ATP and get one free, or €15 off per tonne in bulk. The Nutria's Beef ATP pack enhances animal performance through maximising rumen efficiency. T's and C's apply. For product details, contact your local Homeland or farm commercial specialist, or see nutrias.ie.
Wheeling bulls break the €6 per kilo barrier. In this week's Irish Farmers Journal, we analyse the bumper trade for weanings this autumn. Record smashed in sheep breeding sales. We reveal how new research could safeguard Ireland's calf exports. Farmers react angrily to critics of rising food prices. Top 5 TAMS investments under €2,000. Plus, in the latest of our Farm Succession series, we detail legal and tax advice and transferring land to your family. Only inside this week's Irish Farmers Journal, on sale now.
Don't delay when you get your bowel screening invitation. Call us today on 1-800 45 45 55 or visit bowelscreen.ie. From the HSE.
Now, you'd be very familiar with the situation that continues in Ukraine. You certainly would be very familiar with the situation that's ongoing in the Middle East. But the Sudanese community in Donegal are holding a vigil at the square in Letterkenny from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. This for the millions of people affected by the humanitarian crisis in Sudan. Sudan is collapsing under the weight of war, famine and disease. Over 25 million people face food insecurity. Suiba Ahmed joins me in studio. She's chairperson of the Sudanese community in Donegal. And Mohammed Ali is a 19-year-old student graduate from St. Eunan's College, now in his second year of medicine in Bulgaria. And he has a very personal story to tell in relation to this as well. Suiba, Mohammed, both of you, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Suiba, I'll start with you. I mean, this is a situation in the country you were born that you're incredibly familiar with. You've been very personally touched by this, but it is not in the news cycle. Talk to me, I suppose, about the situation in Sudan. And, I mean, obviously, you're going to be affected by it in all manners of ways, but as to say, the personal impact this has had on you.
Yeah, definitely. The situation in Sudan is really collapsing, and it is really very bad because of the brutal war. My personal experience of that, my family are literally among those who are displaced under fire. They moved from Khartoum to Cairo under fire, including my mom, and she was sick. She had a hemorrhage stroke, but she needs to make this journey under fire for continuous 4 days, and there was no coverage in some points, and it was very stressful time for myself following them.
Because you're so far removed, you can't help.
Definitely.
You're just getting updates. You
Definitely.
can't use any influence yourself.
Definitely. It's just, the anxiety and waiting and calling with no connection and all of that. And I was raised and, grown in Sudan. I miss everything about there. It is heartbreaking when you see your own house. My own personal house was looted. My brother's house was burned. My sister's houses is the same. The state, the memories, the streets, the place, the neighborhood. And there is some people who flee to different destinations, neighboring countries. I have no hope to see them or connect,
Who are the warring factions? Is it a lot of these conflicts can be very complex, but in an easiest way for me to understand, who are the warring factions?
The situation already started since our successful revolution 2019, and there was a very, deep resistance from the deep state against this revolution. They find it very hard. The change is very hard.
The loss of power.
Yeah, and also themselves, they created the Rapid Support Force. They magnify it, and they help it to grow bigger and bigger. And when they were together, having their back-to-back, relationship, then after that, they steal our revolution because they want to stay in power. And they already controlling all the organization, all the system in the government, everything. And then suddenly they started to fight among themselves. It is the Rapid Support Force and the Sudanese official army.
So it's a split really in the established leadership of the country.
That's it.
Now, in terms of sort of external influences, are either side being sponsored by any other countries? Is it a complicated situation?
It is not a secret. There is lots of international and regional interest in Sudan. There is influence for the Rapid Support Force by United Arab Emirates. It is not a secret. And there is big support for the Sudanese army by Egypt, by Saudi Arabia, by lots of countries. And the other, there is also international interest in Sudan. There is actual troops from foreign countries taking part in this war.
But there doesn't seem to be an international interest in resolving it or getting involved in a... And when we talk about, obviously UAE, international, Egypt, international, but there are major power brokers like Europe, America, for an example. Okay, why is there such little interest in resolving this crisis?
This is what is bringing me here today, to show how angry I am and how that heartbreaking, that silence. I think that, human lives, the value of the human lives is equal, supposed to be equal. I have no answers why the world is quiet. It's not only America or the other people who can take decision or bring people together or resolve it. What about the UN? What about the whole world? What about the media? We are not even in the news.
Well, that's what I'm trying to ascertain as to why.
Yeah. They have, maybe they think there is priorities. This is my take. I just think that it is my priorities, or they might have themselves some interest in what is going on. They don't care about that. They have some, agendas or what interests them or what the benefit for them, or even they have priorities. And this is not fair.
Mohammed, did you want to come in there?
Yeah, I did want to come in there. I think I do understand why, to an extent. The war has been going on for quite a bit now, and constantly seeing in the news, it's easy to dehumanize people that are in it. It's easy to not see them as people.
It's just happening over there.
It's just sees as something that's happening over there. Yeah. Now I understand. Me, myself, I'm here to show people that are my age who grew up mostly here. I came here when I was 9 years old. My brother was 5. I came here really young. And so it's hard to disconnect. I'm trying to show people that are here that is still part of them, part of their culture, part of their heritage. So I think the war is just...
So are you saying that as much as really you would want international communities, the humans as a whole, do you believe that Sudanese around the world have a greater role to play maybe in making some noise in the countries that they are in to try and draw attention to the Sudanese crisis?
I do believe that, but I also think the world's also becoming blind towards it. The world isn't seeing anything about it. Because slowly, it's not put in the media as much as other things. Now, this is not to take away from any other country.
No, I think
people
get that. People get that. It's not like, say, get that country off the telly and put this on. I know it's not that, and I hope no one would think that, because that's clearly not the case. Your family that remain in Sudan, how have they been impacted by this?
I have been shown videos, as she mentioned, of the house destroyed, of my own house destroyed, of relatives' house destroyed. There are videos of people that you could know being humiliated by the army or by the Rapid Support Force. It's heartbreaking to constantly see it. And I had relatives die because of hunger, or because of lack of medicine, or because they were displaced.
Because that's a very important factor in this as well. Who's running the country, i.e. the health system, education, law and order? That all has to collapse, Soeba, when there is so much political infighting.
None of that. None of that. There is no health system, even in the capital, Khartoum.
So what about then vaccination programs for children?
Not at all. Everything is just, even the education for some part or regions, the children are not taken there, education. Even during the revolution, because of conflict of interest and fighting and politics, and because of all of that, there is some children, including my niece and nephews, they were at home for 2 years. Because of that, even more.
And of course, Mohammed, there's generations lost here. Even if this were resolved today, post-traumatic stress for people, but also, children that have missed out on education, people that have missed out on medicines, on vaccinations. You know what I mean? The ramifications of this will be felt for some time. So the quicker it's resolved, the better.
Of course, the quicker it's solved is better. But even people that aren't living there anymore, people that have been displaced, the quality of life has dropped dramatically for everyone. A lot of people have been displaced to Egypt, including my own family. And the quality of life is
How are they treated
saddening.
in Egypt?
Honestly, I don't think they're loved very much. Like, they were accepted at first, but over time, because it's a lot of refugees, and to an extent I can understand, but they don't have anywhere else to go, and so Egyptians are slowly starting to build up.
Yeah, and also there is no any international support or any, they don't take their part treating them as refugees or asylum seekers,
But you see,
and
there's
literally they are.
The thing too, there is this narrative or this conversation that everybody that flees to another country is doing so for, nefarious reasons. It's very much in the world's interest to make life as livable and as peaceful and as safe for people wherever they're from, because my experience is, obviously people choose to move for different reasons, but the majority of people wish to stay. Like, say, for instance, the people of Ukraine.
Definitely.
They haven't come here in their hundreds of thousands because they couldn't wait to get to Ireland.
Definitely.
It's because they came for fear of death, or their children being conscripted into the army, or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
It's very much in the world's interest, even when it comes down to climate. It's very much in the world's interest to make everywhere livable, because 9 times out of people want to live at home.
In a nutshell, I could say that no one is attracted out of his home. They are pushed out.
Like,
no
I'm not
one
sitting
is
here
choosing
waiting
to do
go,
that.
I can't wait to
No.
go to another country.
No.
I'm going to give everything up and
No.
present at an
all.
airport somewhere. I mean, why would I, and I don't have any great resources.
And even,
I'm not-
if I can say about my own experience coming to Ireland, I choose to improve something. My husband is a doctor. I choose to come here, but in my mind, I have my house, I have my country. My plan is to come for some time, for some, goals and everything, and going back, at least if you have the choice that you can come
But you've nothing
and go
you've nothing
and
to return
stay.
to. Yeah.
Yeah, if you have that choice, it makes difference. That is my choice when I came here, and I have the choice to go back in that time. But it is really hard for the people who are pushed out of their homes, and they don't have the choice to go back.
No, and this will be demonstrated because there will be an awful lot of, say, for instance, Ukrainian, because that's the most recent thing, and it's the war that seems closest to being resolved. There will be a mass exodus of people returning to their homeland.
Definitely.
I mean, and we will see that because we've seen it in previous generations.
Yeah.
So, in relation to the vigil at the square in Letterkenny from 4 to 5 p.m., it's going to be a very busy weekend, actually. That's this coming...
Marathon.
When is that? Sorry, when is the...
23rd.
23rd, so that's
3rd
Saturday.
of August. Yeah, this Saturday.
Okay, this coming Saturday, right? So it's going to be very busy. There's an awful lot going
Yeah.
on. So who do you want there? I mean, obviously you want everyone there, right? We see a massive mobilization of people in defense of the Palestinians, for an example.
Yeah.
As Mohammed quite rightly pointed out, no one's looking to take away from that. But it's a case of saying, right, well, will you also care about us?
Yeah.
Is that really
it is
kind
humanity.
of what you're... Yeah,
It
okay.
is the humanity. And we're going there to have, the people voice to amplify what we are going for. And I believe that in those days, our voice might echo around the world. We are not going to, come together just to grieve or mourn. We'll do that definitely. But we want to make it as a start for action, for the world to see.
But the thing is, whatever people think about a Donald Trump, for an example, India, Pakistan were on the brink. And because of the United States influence, they were able to resolve that in very quick time. There have been other issues, Israel, Iran. If the right international attention is directed, and it often needs to be sort of the threat of financial sanctions or bombs. I'm sorry to say, but that's the truth. But these situations do get resolved. So the truth is that if the right international communities took an interest in Sudan, Mohammed, things could improve really quite quickly.
Yeah. So what we're doing is trying to make the whole world see it. Just trying to make our voices echo as far as possible, because eventually governments will have to do something. If enough people are talking about it, governments will eventually step in.
Does any part of you feel that the world's eyes are elsewhere because this is an African country? I don't want to get into that. I'm not.
I presume it. I would say
okay.
it. This is the truth. I have no any other explanation. I explained the interest of the international, and regional in the Sudan as a rich country or all of that. But part of it, my attention will go to this one because I couldn't explain it. Yeah, it is part of it.
I'm talking about starving kids.
Yeah.
I'm talking about 150,000
Yeah.
dead. Not about the resources of the country that the UAE or Turkey might have, or maybe the strategic location. But I'm on about the humanitarian crisis element of it. Even that's not getting the focus. And I'm just wondering if,
And this, what I want to say to the people on Saturday. Maybe this will be the start. Some people might not know because the media is not covering that. We will start from, if you don't know it, that's okay. If you know it and you ignore it, just, ask yourself, why? Why? Yeah.
Why is this less?
Why?
Why are these lives less valuable?
Same lives. You wouldn't believe that even yesterday, in a battle from both sides, there is 300 people died yesterday. They are not making the news. No. Last week, the total of that might be like 3,000 people from both sides. They are Sudanese. They are lives. And sometimes among them, there is civilians, there is children when the attack happened, and they are not making the news.
Yeah, and I think, obviously it's the byproduct of war that's affecting the civilian population as much as anything. Obviously, you're going to get caught in the crossfire, but, when you talk of famine, lack of access to food, water is an issue, shelter, medicines, education, and so on and so forth. Mohammed, anything you want to say as we wrap up?
I do. For the thing on Saturday, the vigil on Saturday, I know a lot of young people don't listen to the radio generally, but your parents...
Oh, come on, Mohammed. Go easy on me, son.
But your parents, please bring your children out.
I've got a podcast. No, you're quite right. I understand. It's a very important message. What you're saying is effectively spread the word, because you can't rely on everyone to have heard this. So spread the word that you heard.
Yeah, people my age can very easily be disconnected from stuff like this. And I was thankfully educated well on it. But people my age are very disconnected from this. So please just bring them out for that Saturday.
And listen, there has to be light in the shade. So I will say I'm actually quite young and relevant. So you should start listening to me, Mohammed, all right? And you're echoing that too, Suiba. It's get the message out, share it on your socials, challenge people really. Anything. Challenge people, have a look at it. And if it doesn't matter because it's there, well, then let's have a conversation about that. But, ignorance can be an excuse. If you don't know what's going on, you can sort of say, well, I'm not moved by it, know? Yeah. Did you get where I'm coming from?
Yeah, this is the worst, scenario when the people know about it and they're not moved.
I can't imagine what it must feel like not knowing the fate of my friends and family. That would be very difficult, because it'd be very easy for people to say, well, you're safe here, but it's worrying at night about, people, who you potentially could have gone to school with, Mohammed, or your grandparents that might be there. Or
I just want to add one last thing. The Sudanese community in Donegal is big. There is lots of them. They're settled for long time. They have even generations over here. and they are suffering in silence.
Yeah, of course.
They are worried. They are depressed. And
well, they have an opportunity on Saturday to get out too.
That's it.
You know, as well.
Yeah, everybody.
You know, everyone.
Yeah,
I think.
support,
I think the wider community, but I
That's
think the Sudanese community has to be really well represented there. I
Yeah.
know it's not practical for everyone, okay, but I think that would help to send because there's going to be a lot of people around Letterkenny at the weekend. So it's. All right then. Listen, Mohammed. Thank you. How's what are you studying? You're out of St. Eunice now, are you?
Yeah, I'm done with St.
Eunice. And you're studying medicine.
Yeah.
All right, good stuff. All right. I know what you're up to, Suiva, so I won't ask you. I mean, our education might be behind us, though. You're always studying, aren't you?
I am.
Yeah, you're always studying.
I have more than 35 certificates. I love studying.
That's what I'm
And I
thinking.
registered for another course.
How many certificates have you, Mohammed?
Yeah, I love this.
You're about 34 behind this lady. All right, okay.
I'll catch up one day.
You will, of course. I've no doubt. Listen, Suiva, thanks so much for who's to say, you know, like this little interview, who's to say what might come from it? But in a way, I suppose what you are doing is you're doing all you can.
Yeah,
you know, you're reaching the people you have access to, right? So,
yeah.
Suiva, thank you. Mohammed, thank you. Best of luck with your studies,
Thank you
Mohammed.
very
We'll be
much.
back with more after these.
Thank you.
The 9 till noon show with the Northwest Truckfest this Saturday and Sunday on Neil T. Blinny Road, Letterkenny. Gates open to the public at 4 on Saturday and 11 a.m. on Sunday, with proceeds to Cancer Care West.
The club championships continue in Donegal this weekend, and our feature game on Highland Sunday Sport comes from the Intermediate Championship, as Inishowen parishes collide at the Scarvey. It's Buncrana hosting Neve Padraig Ishkaheen. Throw-in time is 2 p.m. And we'll also be keeping tabs on some of the other Round 3 Senior Championship games.
Coverage of the Donegal Football Championship is with Highland Motors Letterkenny and the all-new Dacia Duster from just €199 per month. Refreshed looks, sophisticated yet practical and tough. Now also available in hybrid.
It's Cabaret 25 at Harvey's Point. We start again on Wednesday, September the 3rd, and every Wednesday until November the 5th. An amazing lineup of stars, gourmet food, the warmest of welcomes, and all in the beautiful surrounds of Harvey's Point on Lough Esk, Donegal Town. Book today 074 972 2208 or harveyspoint.com. The Harvey's Point Cabaret, a night not to be missed.
Step into National Heritage Week. Uncover the past, explore the present, and connect with your community. From city streets to forest trails, discover the places, stories, and people that shape who we are. Taking place from the 16th to the 24th of August, find events at heritageweek.ie. National Heritage Week is a programme of the Heritage Council, supported by the local authorities' heritage networks and the Department of Housing, Local Government and Heritage.
The acclaimed play Three Hail Marys on Grain On Letterkenny, Friday, September 5th and Saturday 6th. See on grainon.com. Selling fast.
The Northwest Truckfest rolls back into Letterkenny this Saturday and Sunday on Neil T. Blinny Road. Enjoy live music and a truckload of family fun. This ad is sponsored by JD Recovery Services, Kilmacrenan and Donegal Town, 9139303.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhinney's. Get back to school sorted with all the essentials from school jumpers to shoes. Visit our kidswear department in store or shop online at mcelhinney's.com today.
Radio. So there's a very slim chance of a shower in the north of the county and Derry, Tyrone, etc. Temperature 17 to 20 degrees, winds remaining light. Very close to the end of the show. Thank you very much for listening. Thanks to those of you who watch the show as well. Greatly appreciated. We are out and about tomorrow. We're coming live from Dunfanaghy Golf Club. They've got a great fundraiser on, raising money for Ronald McDonald House down in Dublin. Many of you have had to use those facilities. Unfortunately, some of us will have to use them into the future, especially in the context of the Children's Hospital eventually opening, and it will. They're looking to invest significantly in that. So the guys and girls at Dunfanaghy Golf Club are doing their bit. And we're going to be there for a chit-chat, right? So if the Friday panel is normal between 9 and 10... then we've got musical guests, we've got people local to the area coming in for a chat. We'll try and get some crack out of golfers, etc. So tune in for that. Don't forget, of course, you can watch that show. As I said a little earlier on, we always get great viewing figures when we're on OBs. People seem to enjoy that, so that's great. But listen in. 99% of you are going to be listening, and we really appreciate that. So that's the 9 till noon show live from Dunfanaghy Golf.